still here all the way up until 11 o'clock tonight. Friday night, Labor Day weekend. Everybody's gotten the hell out of Dodge except for me, Matt McCarthy. Hi, how you doing? Anything you want tonight, and I mean anything. At 617-779-0985. James Scaramazzino is here. He'll be here all night. We have a full 4 hours of very serious sports talk coming your way. Very serious, hard-hitting. We're going to grind out more Drake May takes. We're going to grind out more Patriots takes for the next 4 hours. It's going to be, exactly what you expect a sports talk radio program to be. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be unforgiving because that's how we do things on a Friday night on the night show. Walked in tonight, Skaz looked like he'd seen a ghost the last 2 nights. Now, normally the night show, Skaz, and you can speak to this. You do some sports, right? But you talk about life. You do this thing, right? Joe comes on, he'll talk about food. Is Joe Murray going to come in and grind out a 4-hour show on sports? Skaz, you work with Joe every night.
Certainly not in August, I'll tell you that.
Last couple nights, very, very different. Very different from the Joe show. We had Dondero, we had Cattles in the last 2 nights. Straight Patriots. Listened to a lot of both of the shows. Straight Patriots, very in your face. Dondero, very passionate about everything that happened last night. I am not passionate about, really anything. Not passionate about the Patriots quarterback decision. Not passionate about it being Jacoby Brissett. Kind of not passionate about the Patriots right now. Not going to lie to you. Not going to put on an act. No. How could you be? How could you be? We know they're going to be boring and uninteresting until Drake May takes over. And then it all starts, right? Then it all gets going. And then it's potentially the future. There's hope, and you go from there, and it's exciting and it's tantalizing. What you saw on Sunday was exciting and tantalizing, and you should be excited as a Patriots fan. But it just all kind of subsides until Drake May actually takes over. So part of me, and I know you kind of can't do this because it's the only story with the Patriots, part of me just wants to table the whole quarterback stuff. We know what the situation is. They weren't going to play him. It wasn't a quarterback competition. And until they play him, you're in this holding pattern. And that's not good for sports talk radio, and it's not good for business, and it's not good for fan interest. It's not good for the brand, but it is what it is. I kind of don't want to fight it. I do, however, think there are 2 big stories that did come out of yesterday. I think we're focusing a little bit too much on the quarterback stuff. And again, that sounds ridiculous. It's the quarterback. It's the future of the franchise. You name it. But again, we're in a holding pattern. What more do you want? Do you want me to do another night grinding out Drake May takes? Grinding out Drake May versus Jacoby Brissett? I can't do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't do it. Maybe you can, and you're welcome to at 617-779-0985. But I can't do it. It's my show. Can't do it. Sorry, cannot do it. I do think there are 2 big picture stories, though, that do come out of the quarterback announcement yesterday. And that's what I'm more interested in tonight. Who's in charge here? And who should be in charge here? That's the story. That's the juicy stuff right now. That's compelling to me. Because we know Gerard Mayo is not in charge. And that was obvious. And Skaz, if I could get it, I know we've heard it a million times, but I think it's so interesting and so compelling and so important. Who made the decision on Jacoby Brissett? Gerard Mayo yesterday making the announcement.
Yeah, good morning, friends. Just like I told you guys a few days ago, there's it's a process as far as selecting who the starting quarterback is. We have decided, or I have decided, that Jacoby Brissett will be our starting quarterback this season.
Nothing more. We have decided. Wait a minute. Sorry. I have decided that Jacoby Brissett will be the starting quarterback this season. I mean, he sounds like a guy reading a statement at gunpoint, really. The scene from South Park where they've got the dad of the Romanian girls. It's like early seasons of South Park. And they got the dad with the, reading the statement at gunpoint, demanding the Romanian girls back. That was Gerard Mayo yesterday. You put him up there for 90 seconds. We have decided. Whoops. Sorry. Please don't shoot. No, I have decided that Jacoby Brissett will be our starting quarterback. He's not making the calls here, folks. I think we all understand that. And I think they want to sell you on the idea that Gerard Mayo is making the calls, but he's not. We've heard that it's a collaborative effort. We've heard that going back to, really the day Belichick was fired. We've heard that it's going to be more collaborative. They need more voices in the room after the Belichick era. They need a democracy, not a dictatorship. They need all of that. And by the way, I agree with that. I think that's fine. They did need more empowered voices in the room. Bill had taken control of the thing, had too much power for too long. They needed to fix that thing. I agree. But it feels like now you don't know who's making the final call. You know everybody involved. Mayo's involved. Van Pelt's involved. Elliott Wolf's involved. But who has the final say? In any scenario, anywhere, somebody needs to have the final say. And I think we learned with this quarterback decision that it is not Gerard Mayo because they are trying to overcompensate for it. Well, we have decided, I have decided that Jacoby Brissett's going to be our starting quarterback. Nope. Nobody believes that. Nobody. If you believe that, I'd like to hear from you. Crickets probably. Because there's nobody out there that believes that Gerard Mayo was the person who made that decision. Doesn't sound like the type of guy who has any control over the situation whatsoever. I think what you found out is Gerard Mayo is the person who has to speak for it because he's the head coach. He's the guy that had to try to sell us on a fake quarterback competition because he's the head coach. But in the end, he is not the guy making decisions on things. And who is it? And to me, I think it's Jonathan Kraft and Robin Glazer. I think they are running the show. Because I believe the reporting the second it came out that Kraft and Glazer were going to be taking more control over things. And I know the Patriots have pushed back on that vehemently, both publicly and privately. I think they are sensitive to that idea that Jonathan Kraft is involved in football operations and football decisions. And I understand why they're sensitive to that idea because it's a bad look. It is. But all of that makes me ask, who is in charge here? And if Gerard Mayo's not in charge, who is it? It's not him. I think he made that obvious yesterday, and he's made it obvious in the last few days, kind of stumbling and bumbling his way around the wheeze and the eyes. Alex Van Pelt is in the room. He has a say. I don't think he has the final say, and that's a good thing. Your offensive coordinator shouldn't have the final say on everything. How about Elliott Wolf? He definitely has a big say. But does he have the final say? Nobody's answered that question for me, because I don't think anybody really wants to answer that. Which leads me to Jonathan and Robin. She's got a new title. She's senior advisor to the head coach. How involved are they in everything? And who should have the final say? Because to me, it should be Gerard Mayo. It should be the head coach. I want the personnel guy bringing in the players. I want the offensive coordinator developing the quarterback. And I want the head coach to take everybody's opinion into account and make the right decision for the team. The right decision or the wrong decision. But I want the head coach being that guy. And to me, the Patriots should want Gerard Mayo to be that guy, and he's not right now. Let's not forget that the Patriots promised Gerard Mayo the job and did no coaching search because they had already had it written down that Gerard Mayo was going to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots. So you believe in him. How could you say they don't believe in him? They obviously do. They put it in writing. They didn't want to do a search. Mayo's their guy. Yet it doesn't feel to me like he ultimately has final decision over football matters. That Elliott Wolf has a say, and Robin Glazer has a say, and Jonathan Kraft has a say, and Alex Van Pelt has a say. Like, where's Gerard Mayo in all of this? Did you hire him because you really believe in him? Or did you hire him because you think you can control him? Is that, because you're coming out of the Belichick thing? And listen, the Krafts were the first to say it when they moved on from Belichick that, Bill had too much control and, more pieces, more guys in the room guys and gals, whoever, they needed to have, their voices heard, and it became too much about Bill, which, by the way, they're right about. But the next guy you bring in, you should give some power and authority to, and it doesn't feel like Gerard Mayo has just about any of that. I mean, if there was one thing about Bill Belichick, he did it his way. Right or wrong, he did it his way. And he was so stubborn about it that you had a hard time controlling him. So, do the Patriots want a head coach that is more of a figurehead for it and doesn't really make the decisions in the end? And is that why they hired him? I really hope that's not the case, because I want my head coach, for better or for worse, having the final say, having the final call. And based on all the comments you've heard from Gerard Mayo, it doesn't feel like he has much say at all in this situation. And he said Drake May has been the best quarterback in camp, yet we all know Drake May was not going to start. If it were up to Gerard Mayo, would Drake May have had a better chance to start? I'm starting to wonder that, based on everything he said in recent days here. But it doesn't feel like he's the one making the decision. He should be the one making the decision. That should be your head coach. If you believed in him so much that you were not going to do a head coaching search, and you were going to put it in writing that he was going to take over for Bill Belichick, if you believed in him that much, then he should have final say. And it just doesn't feel like he does. 617-779-0985. I think that's the interesting thing to come out of this. Who's in charge here? And who should be in charge? Feels like they haven't quite figured that out. Or they have figured it out and they don't want anybody to know who's running the show. We continue. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray on the Sports Hub. Got room for you. 617-779-0985. Alex Barth is going to join the program at 8 o'clock tonight. Talk about college football. Talk about Patriots. Maybe even preview the NFL draft for next year. You never know, right? I mean, it never... Listen, when your team sucks, it's never too early to preview the NFL draft. We got all of that coming your way. It's McCarthy in for Joe.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
I should have done this before kickoff. We do have a Joe play tonight. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray. He has the over in the Michigan State game, which I need to find a way to get on the TV here. Hold, please. The remote's on the other side of the room. Damn it. We've got money on it tonight. We got money on the Michigan State over. So there you have it. And anything you want. It's 617-779-0985. Let's all get rich together, shall we? Elliot in Boston. Elliot.
Hey, Matt. Happy Labor Day weekend. Glad you're on.
Thanks, man.
Warn Patriots fans, naive Patriots fans, of how critical this season is. The last 3 years should scare you as to how bad it can get. And I really don't want Drake May playing until I know a couple things. I mean, forget about the offensive line. I feel like offensive line play is down across the NFL in general. I don't want Drake May playing until I know Gerard Mayo can coach and until I know Alex Van Pelt can game plan an offense against an NFL defense. What we saw in the preseason was great. We now know that we have a legitimate NFL high-end prospect on our hands. But until I know those things about the coaching staff, I don't want to throw them out there to potentially ruin them because of not what's around them offensively, but because of what's around them on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, Elliot, I don't necessarily think this coaching staff is going to ruin him. I know a lot of people are really down on Alex Van Pelt. Mark Bertrand leading the charge on that. In fact, when I defended Alex Van Pelt the other day, Beetle texted me. He was none too happy with my AVP take. I would say Drake May's gotten better from the start of training camp to the end of training camp, and part of that has to do with the coaching. So I give the coaching staff some credit. I just think the way I feel about Drake May, Elliot, is there is really no reason to rush it. For the reasons you just said, you want to, get your coaching staff, get their feet wet first. Fine. Hopefully figure things out on the offensive line. Maybe it looks better when David Andrews comes back. I'm not necessarily counting on it because I don't think they're talented enough, and City So's hurt, and I don't think City So's good enough in the first place. But I want to see that offensive line, play a few games together and hopefully develop a little bit of rhythm so it's just below average instead of what you saw against Washington. You can't put them in there if they're going to be that every single week. Like, you're going to get the kid killed. It's not necessarily about ruining him. It's about delaying his development because he gets hurt. And again, I know you can never, plan things around guys getting hurt in the NFL. It's a physical sport. Guys get hurt all the time. But there's just no reason to put him out there behind an offensive line that hasn't figured it out yet. Sort of. They don't have to be great. They don't even have to be good. But you can't put him out there behind that. And the fact of the matter is, I've said this a million times, you're so much better being late on Drake May than early. So much better. If you put him in there early, bad things can happen. Not to say that bad things won't happen when he gets in there and he won't, have bumps and bruises and hiccups along the way. I mean, that's the way it is. The guy's a young player. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have bad games. We're all going to have to deal with that. But waiting doesn't ruin him. Waiting doesn't expose him to any unnecessary risk. Having him sit and develop and learn more about what it takes to be an NFL offensive coordinator, an NFL quarterback, run an NFL offense, is what I'm trying to say. Having him sit in the sidelines for the few weeks is not a problem to me. It's just not. Connor in the car, though, I think disagrees. Hi, Connor.
Yeah, I do disagree. Well, I have a question for you. So if we wanted to truly rebuild, right, and if Brissett was going to be the starter before we even drafted Drake May, why did we draft Drake May and not Joe Alt to tackle and address the offensive line issues?
Because you can't kick the quarterback thing down the road. If you think a quarterback's there who's going to be a starting quarterback for you for years to come, you can't do that. You also hope to never draft number 3 overall ever again. So, the whole kick the can down the road on the quarterback thing, Connor, I could never get on board with it.
Well, I agree. So we address the quarterback issue, then why shouldn't Drake May start if we're taking him at our 3rd overall pick?
Is Drake May ready to play?
I think just as a fan, he's more exciting than Brissett.
Yeah, but
Even
take the fan.
exciting.
take the fan thing out of it, Connor. Like, I mean, you have to on this. Is he ready to play? Yes or no? And are they ready for him to play? Yes or no? I agree. It's boring. It's terrible. Trust me, nobody's more worried about it than me having to do sports talk radio and come in and talk about Jacoby Brissett. I'd rather light myself on fire. I can't do Jacoby Brissett. I can't do it. But Drake May, like this situation, I don't think it's not the right time for him. I just don't.
I think he's on the cusp. So if he's on the cusp of being ready, and if it's only going to take a few weeks of him riding the pine and practicing more and doing whatever, getting used to the offense, why not just run out of the gate, take that chance, and see if he is ready? Because, I mean, the only way he's going to really develop and get better as a player is real game-time experience.
I disagree with that. Now, you need that eventually, don't get me wrong, but what he needs to improve on is handling the huddle, which you can do in practice. Learning the offense more. Learning how an NFL offense and operation runs. Like it's not the talent with Drake May. And, listen, the talent showed up on Sunday night in Washington against a whole bunch of backups. But when you're out there in an NFL game and you need to figure out that, wait a minute, we don't hold up a picture of Donald Duck on the sidelines, and that's how we call a play. We got to get in a huddle with 70,000 people screaming, in this building because we're on the road. That's the type of thing that Drake May needs to improve on and needs to work on. And I hear what you're saying. If you feel like he's only a few weeks away, why not just play him now? I actually say the exact opposite thing. If you feel like he's a few weeks away, why don't you wait 6 weeks just to be really sure you have it? Just to see him continue building on what he's built on. Drake May has improved in practice. Drake May got better from the start of training camp until now. Now, there were a couple of preseason games in there, but they'll be the first to tell you, NFL teams will be the first to tell you that it's not about the preseason games, it's about practice. Now, we see the preseason games, so that's what we get to react to. And in the end, not many of us are down there to watch a team practice. So you have to take beat writers' reports on it and all that, as your information. You take it with a grain of salt. But the practice time is more important in the NFL than the actual preseason games, which is why I look at what Drake May did in practice in the last 2 weeks of training camp, and I say, that's the stuff to really be excited about. He's improving every day. He's getting better in practice. He's learning how to run an offense, all that stuff. So he can continue to do that while sitting. Because if you speed it up on him in an NFL game, it just might be too much. You run that risk if you put him in there too early. And you know what? If I'm wrong and he's ready to go, and listen, he's closer to being ready than I thought a week ago. I'll tell you that. I mean, the talent is tantalizing. How could you not be excited about it? So if I was wrong about it and he's closer to being ready to go, then hand up, I was wrong. But there's really no harm in being late on that. There's a lot of harm in being early on it. John in the car. Hey, John.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, I kind of disagree with one of your takes there about decision making. I believe that Van Pelt made the decision, not Mayo, that he was going that Brissett was going to be the starter. As soon as Mayo was saying that May had the better preseason, that told me that Mayo was lobbying for May to start, because if he wasn't, otherwise he wouldn't have had the need to. Otherwise he wouldn't have had the need to say that. And I'm glad that that's the way it is, because I think the people that are more qualified to make decisions should be making the decisions. If I would ask you the question, who's more qualified to tell you whether the quarterback's ready? Kraft, Wolf, Van Pelt, or Mayo? The answer to that is Van Pelt.
That I would agree with. Yep.
Okay, so don't you want the person most qualified to make the decision? So if you agree with that, why then are you saying that the coach should be making those decisions? Thanks, and I'll hang up and listen.
All right, thanks, John. I appreciate it, because ultimately I want the head coach being the decision maker for the football team. Now, what I want the head coach to have authority to do is to go to his offensive coordinator. If you're saying Alex Van Pelt should be the guy making the decision on when Drake May goes in, I agree with that. Makes all the sense in the world, right? An NFL coach for the last 20 years, played quarterback in the league, as your offensive coordinator. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of him being here, but he probably is the most qualified person in the building, for better or for worse, to evaluate a quarterback. That's fine. That's good. I don't want him having that authority to make that decision. I want Gerard Mayo to have the authority to make that decision. Now, you can say, I want Mayo to go to Van Pelt and say, I'm handing this to you. I'm delegating this to you. You decide when Drake May goes in and plays. That's fine. That's good. The point that I was making, John, is that ultimately I want the head coach being the person with the final say. I want my head coach to delegate. I want my head coach, to take opinions from everybody else in the room, which Bill Belichick was not willing to do, and that was ultimately a problem. But you knew in the end who had final say. Yes or no? It's Bill. And right now, this setup, I don't know who has final say. I'm guessing it's Jonathan Kraft on anything football matter. And he probably delegates a lot of decision-making to Robin Glazier, which is why she got the promotion. She's senior advisor to the head coach. And executive vice president of football operations? What is her title again? Let's find this for 1 second. Robin Glazier, executive vice president of football business and senior advisor to head coach Gerard Mayo. So, is she the one who ultimately makes the decision on behalf of Jonathan? Maybe. Could be. I just want that person to be the head coach. Doesn't have to make every decision, but he needs to have final say, which I know sounds weird. He needs to be able to delegate and say, all right, I'm going to let you make this decision. I'm going to trust you on this. But I can overrule you because I'm the head coach and I have final say. You know what I mean? 617-779-0985. Let's do a quick update, then right back with you. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox out to a 3-0 lead on the Tigers in the fourth inning. Jarren Duran got the scoring started tonight. He doubled in the first inning. Tanner Houck on the mound. Rafael Devers back in the lineup for the Sox tonight, which means Masataka. McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. Got room for you, 617-779-0985. Also see you on the Twitch chat. No, it's not Twitch anymore. It's YouTube. It's all the same to me, right? I'll hop in there. I enjoy it. Skaz is always in the YouTube chat. People love Skaz. Poor Dondero just taking a beating in here tonight. It's not necessary. I'm not going to stand for this. A lot of people saying he was a little too passionate about the thing last night. A little too, he wants Drake made a start. He's got to take. I'll give him that. He's got to take. Poor guy just taking a beating in here. So glad it's McCarthy tonight. It's not Joe, but I'll take McCarthy, I guess, over last night's fill-in. Gee, they won't even name the guy. It's Mark Dondero. My goodness. Unnecessary. I could have said it to the man's face. And don't talk to me about it. Don't call me about the thing. No. Well, I won't stand for this. I won't. 617-779-0985. You know what I also won't stand for? And I'm not going to let people call out Dondero for having a take last night. I'm not going to let that happen. There is somebody I'd like to call out here, though. We don't have any candy in the building, Skaz, tonight. I'm calling out myself. This is a real problem. I should have brought some stuff in. All I have right now is one half of a piece of bread, like a roll from Not Your Average Joe's, which is just the best roll and the best dip. I've got a half a piece of bread left, and that's going to have to sustain me for the next 3.5 hours. Because the candy bowl's been filled all week, right? I've been in here. It's been fantastic. I've been running down to the candy bowl. It has been left empty the holiday weekend.
No, I just took a walk down there. There's some candy still in there.
That's not candy.
That's
not candy.
Some Airheads.
I don't consider that candy.
I was disappointed there was no Skittles, but on a Friday night, that thing is pretty barren.
It usually is. Friday night, holiday weekend, we are porked, Skaz. I'm here all weekend long. Yep, tomorrow with Barth, Sunday, alone, Monday, Felger. I think it's just Felger and me. I think Felger's remote. So I'm just here. This is me, Skaz tonight.
Felger on a holiday Monday.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you could work from the island on Monday, why not just take the comp day and use it another time, right?
There you go.
Pro move right there. He's got it figured out. I don't get comp days for working on a holiday. It's just the expectation. What do you mean you're not available on Labor Day? Actually, Labor Day is a good day to work. I enjoy working the holiday Mondays. I would so much rather have a random Friday off at another point in the year than some holiday Monday. It's going to be no traffic coming in. It's going to be a good day. People are going to be on the road, coming back from the Cape. It's a lot to talk about. Coming back from Maine. It's a good days to work. But there will be no candy in the candy bowl for me because Skaz, Airheads, whatever you've got back there, Warheads.
Out on the Warheads.
Strong out. The sour candy, that's not candy. I need chocolate. Chocolate is candy. That's the way that thing works.
Kind of a candy elitist.
I am a candy elitist. I expect the best and nothing but the best. And right now I have Airheads. And don't get me wrong, come 9 o'clock tonight,
you'll be eating Airheads.
I'll be eating Airheads. I'm like, I don't like this, but I got to get through it. How the hell else do you expect me to power through a 4-hour solo shift? I mean, it's not solo. I've got Skaz. You know what I mean. Just looking at him like a piece, through a piece of glass, like I'm a zoo animal in here, caged. I'll be breaking into those Airheads. I will be. I'm going to make that happen. Oh, but all week we had Reese's back there, Twix, Milky Way, Three Musketeers. I don't know if we had Kit Kats. We had Snickers. I had a Snickers yesterday. It was delightful. Always enjoyed Snickers Elite Tier 1 candy with nuts in them. None better. I'll do candy tiers all night long. It's a Friday night. Give me the Maz's Tears sound. Reese's number 1. Tier 1. Tier all by itself, really. You want to put, Snickers in tier 2, that's fine. You can do that. Reese's tier 1 candy. Somebody checks in. Matt says Texas Roadhouse, the goat bread. Yes, Texas Roadhouse with that butter. Oh, that is great. It's a conversation yesterday on the midday show. This or that, you have to give up one thing only. You cannot keep it if you have the other. You have to give up pasta or bread. That's it. To which I'd say, I'd rather die. That don't make me choose. I could not live without either. And the argument is, I guess, like if you take away bread, you can't have a sandwich. You can't have a dinner roll. I can't have my one half of my not your average Joe's little roll with the dipping sauce. I can't have that if I give up the bread. But you're telling me I can't go to Giacomo's and get a lobster ravioli? I can't do that because I have to swear off pasta? Again, I'd rather die. I would rather die. 617-779-0985. We continue. It's McCarthy here on the Sports Hub in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
get back into the Patriots stuff and my thought on who the hell is running the show over there. It's concerning to me. I do want to quickly mention the Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau thing today, which is just awful. I mean, it's just the most terrible story. I mean, I feel like it deserves probably more attention than we'll give it tonight because I just don't know what to say about it. What do you say about it? It's awful. It's heartbreaking. Jesus Christ. Like, that's just... And the more you read about it, like, leaving kids behind and Matthew Gaudreau's wife is pregnant. Like, it's just... The sister's wedding. It's just terrible. Oh, the world is cruel and unfair, and there's no other way to say it. Which is a real uplifting way to start the segment, like the world is cruel and unfair and none of us get out of it unscathed. But what else do you say about the thing other than this? Other than, and innocent until proven guilty and all that stuff, but how dare you drive drunk? How dare anybody drive drunk? There's nothing worse. Nothing worse than getting behind the wheel of a car drunk. You kill somebody else. Hurt somebody else, maim somebody else. What could be more irresponsible and selfish than that act? Getting behind the wheel of a dangerous motor vehicle, drunk. I'll never understand it. We've all made mistakes in our lives. We've all done things you regret. That one is as inexcusable as it gets. Whether somebody gets hurt or not. And the worst case scenario is somebody getting hurt. But to get behind the wheel of a car drunk, and you hope that nobody gets hurt, but like that's almost as bad. It's not about the outcome, and trust me, the outcome's terrible. The act in and of itself in the first place, no matter what happens, whether you get home safely or not, or whether somebody else does not, or whether you do not, nothing worse. Nothing I look down on more, nothing I think society looks down on more than somebody who does that. It's just terrible. It's a terrible story, and I don't know what else to say about it other than, to the family, the folks at BC, everybody who knew the Gaudreaus. Jesus. Just terrible. Just terrible. 617-779-0985. If you want to talk about that, you're more than welcome to. But I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Mike Lombardi, though, did have a lot of things to say this week. Wow. Including this on who's running the show and Robin Glazier and her activity. Like, Lombardi took a blowtorch to the Patriots, and we all know this comes from Bill and the way he feels about it. Mike Lombardi is Mike Lombardi, but this on Robin Glazier I found to be so interesting.
Like you said, it's got disaster written all over it here, so I'm not sure what you do except lose, and that's what the Patriots are going to do.
Or Drake May's going to get hurt. And that's what you're really worried about. And then you don't have no player development. You have no player. You're not developing the kids. So, and there's no plan for player development. I mean, Robin Glazier's not sitting in her office developing talent. And she's never done that before. But she has a voice in football operations. So does Jonathan. So does Elliott. I mean, that's the problem. You have a committee going on there. There's no – and, of course, Alex Van Pelt running the offense. He's the head coach of the offense. I mean, it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre how logical this all works. You go from a guy who ran everything to now subcontracting everything out, and you think you're going to get better results? Seriously.
No.
I would start Brissett, Matt. I would. Mm-hmm. Because, look, here's what I would do. Start Brissett, lose the games, get the first pick in the draft, and then trade that first pick of the draft for a bunch of picks next year because somebody will want Sanders, somebody will want Carson Beck, and then rebuild your team that way. But look, the whole planning of the offseason was they counted on the right tackle. He's not any good. They had to move him to guard, so because they couldn't get him in shape. What does that tell you?
Tells me the Patriots are in a lot of trouble.
Well, I don't think any of us disagree with that, and I forget the guy's name who was on with Lombardi. Great pipes there, by the way. That's awesome. That was like Mr. Radio. That is Joe Radio right there. Oh, this is so rich from Lombardi. It is like, hey, you go from, one person running the show to all of this. What do you expect? Well, Mike, what you are missing the point on, and if you were, not completely compromised by your friendship with Bill Belichick and not being an embarrassing mouthpiece for him the whole time, what you would have also said about all of this is, well, it wasn't working with Bill, and clearly it wasn't working with Bill, so they needed to move on. But this plan, this structure that they've moved on to, I don't believe in this either. So if you come out and say that, the messenger becomes a little bit more legit. The message might be fine, but the messenger is compromised on this, and Mike Lombardi. And it's all personal, which is why, by the way, it's a great cut. I mean, he's passionate about it. I mean, he's ripping the hell out of him because it's all Bill. That all comes from Bill right there, while completely ignoring the fact that Bill's the reason they were in this position to begin with. But Lombardi does make a good point, and I think we can all understand it. Too many cooks in the kitchen. And who's ultimately making the final call? It's not Gerard Mayo. I'll tell you that right now. Is it Robin Glazier? As Lombardi says, she's not sitting in her office breaking down talent. Yeah, she might not be. But what other things is she doing? Does she have a say on contracts? I mean, I know she does. She's been involved with contracts, and that's fine, by the way. You want to have somebody on the business side of things doing business side, that's fine. But as Lombardi points out, and people have pointed out at training camp, she's there, she's present, she's accounted for. How much of a say does she have on the football side of things? How much of a say does Jonathan have? Is he the person who breaks the tie? Who's the person who breaks the tie in the end? That's what I want to know. Because it's not Gerard Mayo, and it's not Alex Van Pelt. Is it Elliot Wolf? Is it Robin Glazier? Is it Jonathan Kraft? That's what I want to know. Skaz, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, or should I head back to the phone calls here?
Yeah, I just think Mike Lombardi comes across as so whiny and so bitter.
Oh, he is. He is. No, again, the messenger is terrible. No doubt about it.
And did Patriots fans expect Robin Glazier to be developing talent? How about Troy Brown on the coaching staff or Dante Hightower? I feel pretty good about those guys developing talent. I feel pretty good about Gerard Mayo having a handle on young linebackers in the NFL and helping them progress. So it's just tough to listen to someone with such an axe to grind that nothing he says I can take. I get it. He does that. That's the frustrating part, is that Lombardi does say stuff of substance at times, but it's so twisted and so he has such an agenda that it's brutal. I said this the other night when we played Lombardi Sound. I just hope I'm not that bitchy and bitter when I'm his age.
Yeah, when you're out there advocating for whoever that may be. And the best part about Lombardi is he will go out there and tell you with a straight face that he is not representing Bill Belichick's interests when he says stuff like this, which is laughable. We all know where this comes from. And again, by the way, some of the stuff he says is legitimate, right? You have too many cooks in the kitchen. Who's making, these decisions? Do you have people in there who should not be in the room making decisions, from Jonathan Kraft to Robin Glazier? Or do you have business people on the football side of things, which I'm really worried about, and you should be really worried about? Who's in charge? And we don't have that answer. And I think we found out once again this week that Gerard Mayo is not in charge. Plain and simple, he's not in charge. And he came out to sell you on a football move, a football decision, on Drake May not being the starting quarterback and Jacoby Brissett being the starting quarterback, and nobody believed that he actually was the one who made that decision. Who was it? Elliott? Van Pelt? Robin Glazier? Jonathan Kraft? Who does the buck stop with over there? It's not Gerard Mayo, and I think that's the problem. 617-779-0985. We'll do a quick update. I see you on the phone line. Stay there. Alex Barth going to join the program for the next half hour. We got a lot of Patriots to talk with him. College football, you name it. We'll be taking calls with Barth. So hang tight. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray. Quick update, then right back with you.
WBC-FM and HD Boston. Patriots! It's an all-new season for the Patriots. Wow. And you'll hear it all right here.
Yes.
Your home of the past. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox out to a 4-0 lead on the Tigers in the sixth inning. Tanner Houck dealing right now for Boston. Connor Wong just went deep, solo shot. Jarren Duran scored a run after doubling in the first inning, so a good start for the Red Sox tonight, again in the bottom of the 6th inning right now. Rafael Devers is back in the lineup. He's DHing tonight, which means Masataka Yoshida is out of the lineup. Alex Cora saying today he will not play him in the field. Trevor Story will DH in Worcester on Sunday as he starts his rehab assignment, trying to work his way back from his shoulder injury that many thought would be season-ending. Patriots made 2 practice squad moves today, re-signing cornerback Isaiah Bolden and adding linebacker Ochon Mathis. Second-round action suspended today toward championship. Scotty Scheffler, your leader by 4 shots. At the FM championship at TPC Boston, Hainan Ryu, your leader at 13 under par. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update, 30 minutes.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. 617-779-0985. We'll get to you. And lucky to be joined for the next half hour or so by the great Alex Barth, 98.5thesportshub.com, one of the authorities on Patriots, and no doubt the authority on college football, probably in Boston. Barth is all of our guests joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. We'll get into college football in a little bit, Barth. We'll do a quick season preview. I think we'll tie it into a bunch of Patriot stuff. So keep your pants on, all right? Like, we'll get there. I promise you that. I actually, Skaz, I kind of lured Barth in tonight. It's a Friday night, holiday weekend. He's watching college football. So I lured him in and I said, hey, you want to come on with me? I promise you we'll talk about college football. And that's why he said yes, because, I mean, he'll, it's like a rabid squirrel when you mention college football. I mean, the kid just...
You set like a Looney Tunes-esque trap for me.
Yes, I did. I need to ask you about the Patriots first before we get back to college football. Is that okay, Barth? Can you handle that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's running the show for the Patriots? Who has final say on all of this stuff? Because my takeaway from this week is that Gerard Mayo has actually very little say on all of this. Who's the final decision maker over there?
Well, I think it comes down to different things. I know the big topic of the day has been the quarterback decision, who's going to start. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's ultimately Alex Van Pelt. Gerard Mayo has talked about, Van Pelt being the point person on Drake May's development. And obviously Van Pelt knows a lot more about the finer points of quarterback play, having played the position in the league than Gerard Mayo does, having been a linebacker. So it would make sense for, at the very least, Alex Van Pelt to be the one who gives the green light. Now, maybe once he gives that green light, it's up to Gerard Mayo to decide when they actually make the switch with Drake May, but it wouldn't surprise me if Van Pelt is signing off on that move first when it does happen.
Do you have a problem with that? Because if it's Alex Van Pelt making that decision, Barth, I actually don't have a problem with that. Like, the quarterback guy making the quarterback decision, given you don't have the person that the buck stops with, I'm okay with that. I don't think a lot of people in Boston media are okay with that because most people vehemently dislike Alex Van Pelt, but I don't have an issue. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I know people are kind of sick of the word collaboration at this point, but that is sort of what it is. You have somebody like Gerard Mayo is the head coach, and he has the wherewithal to understand, this is why you have a staff. You're not necessarily going to be an expert on everything, and you have a guy. I think it would be the same thing at a lot of other positions, but with those positional coaches, but other positions aren't quarterback. Like, he may check with Scott Peters before making a change on the offensive line, but nobody's talking about that. It's not as sexy. I like that they're checking with Alex Van Pelt. I like that it's up to him. It should be up to him. He's the expert in this field. The one thing I will say is, what happens if it's like week 5, they're 1-4, Gerard Mayo's starting to get a lot of criticism, and now he wants to make the change, and maybe he doesn't want to wait. Can he overrule Van Pelt there? But I like Van Pelt at the very least signing off on it. Maybe he's not the one who says this is when he's going in, but him going to Gerard and saying, yeah, he's good whenever you want to make the move, like he's ready, I feel good about it. I think having that check in place does matter.
So I think that's kind of what I'm getting to, Barth. Like, who ultimately has the decision to, the final decision. And if they don't like what somebody else says, they have the authority to override it. I want that to be Gerard Mayo. I want my head coach to ultimately be my decision maker on football decisions, football matters, for better or for worse, right? I want Gerard Mayo to be that person making that decision. Does he have that authority?
So this is where it becomes a little bit of a catch-22, because I think ultimately he could, put his foot down and say Drake May is going to start and do that, but I don't think that's what a good coach would do. I would hope he would have the wherewithal to understand that if Alex Van Pelt, who, by the way, has done a good job developing Drake May to this point,
Thank you.
and has
Agreed.
done a good job developing quarterbacks in the past, I would hope Gerard Mayo has the wherewithal to understand, okay, if AVP is telling me he's not ready, that means he's not ready and it's not time, and I'm not going to help things by forcing it. So could Mayo ultimately pull rank? I guess, yes, he could. I would hope he doesn't in this case. There's other cases where maybe he should. I would hope in this case he doesn't, because that would be a panic move, and I don't think that's what a good coach would do.
I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse on this, Barth, but I'm fascinated by it. Like, Mayo or Elliott Wolf, who do you think has more say in the organization?
Well, Elliott Wolf has say over the roster, and this is something that Patriots fans this is how most teams are run. The Patriots were in the minority on this, where the head coach did both. Elliott Wolf has final say over the roster, so what do you consider like a bigger say, roster depth chart? Because Elliott Wolf can sign and cut players, but I don't think he's calling down to the sideline on game day saying, no, you need to put this guy in, or you need to, switch these two guys where they're lining up. Like, he can't do that. So I guess it's Wolf. Like, Wolf has roster control, and really everything runs from there, but I don't think I'm sure they'd consult with him, but I don't think he has a ton of say over the depth chart beyond what they ask for his input.
All right, let's get into the actual decision that was made by somebody over there. Who knows, really, but somebody made the decision that Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback. Good decision, bad decision, why?
It's the right decision, and I know people don't want to hear that, but two things. And one is Matt Dolph has had this take for a few days now, and he's exactly right. What can you ruin about Drake May by sitting him?
Yep.
What can go wrong for Drake May by him not playing? There really isn't anything. And what can go wrong by him playing is a lot. Chiefly, he gets hurt behind this offensive line, and you loses a whole year of development. Now, that's not me saying sit him all year. I get it. Like, football players need to play, and guys get hurt, but you should do what you can do to mitigate that risk. If it's like a month, right, 6 weeks, that gives them time to figure out the offensive line. It's obviously it's not going to be perfect. It might not even be good this year, but they have to have, by definition, a best five. And that's something Dante Scarnecchia talked a lot about. Just, it can take some time, but find the five guys that work together best. I wish they'd spent more time in camp trying different combinations, but we're past that at this point. It gives them a chance to find their best five up front. It gives them a chance to kind of get the wide receiver room in order. The rookies, especially Jalen Polk, maybe he develops a little bit. He gets a little bit better, becomes a little bit more reliable of a target. And then you put Drake May in there when you have a little bit more production. And again, when I say figure it out, they're not going to become the 07 Patriots in a month. But it will be better a month in than it will be at the start of the season, I would think. Frankly, if it's not, they have much bigger problems at that point. So I know it's what nobody wants to hear. I know people roll their eyes at it, and I get it. This offense has been anemic essentially for 2.5 years now, and people want to watch them put up points, to which I would say, if you've waited 2 years, you can wait another 4 weeks because the payoff will be greater. I'm willing to sacrifice September 2024 for the 5 to 10 to 15-year window, and I do think those 4 weeks can make a difference initially. And it all builds on itself, right? So if you're starting from a higher point, it's going to be quicker to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Barth. You're better off being late than being early. There's very little harm in being a few weeks late on Drake May. Hell, being a month late on him. Like, if you think he's ready, wait a couple weeks. Wait a month. The only thing it's going to hurt is your brand and fan interest in the meantime, which, by the way, is no small thing, right?
But again, I would say what maybe, like, people maybe get annoyed for a month if Drake May comes out and is great, people will forget about that. Like, nobody's sitting here saying, yeah, the Tom Brady era was great, but, man, they should have played him in 2000. I really would have bought in if they played him in 2000, but they didn't. So, right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's if he's good, he's good. It doesn't matter. If he's not good, nobody's going to care that he didn't play him. Like, he's not going to be not good because he didn't play. And the other really important part of this, McCarthy, and you've heard me stress this before, and I'm going to keep stressing it because it's so important. Starting Drake May week 1 is about more than him just starting against the Bengals. Drake May starting whenever they make that change. Drake May is your quarterback. You cannot bench him. You cannot put him out there and realize, he wasn't ready. This was too soon.
Right.
Pull him back. You can't do that.
It's over. It's over at that point. You're so right about this, Barth. The Mac Jones era ended when you pulled him for Bailey Zappi in the second half of that game in Chicago. That was it. You have to be so sure that it is the time. I would rather take the month and make sure I'm so sure, because you can bench Jacoby Brissett. That's fine. Once you open that box with Drake May, you can't put the lid back on. You can't put it back in the box. Like, you're going at that point. And when you bench him, like you said, alluding to Mac Jones, unless you're benching him because you're blowing a team out, you're going to raise big questions about his future, and you're going to create a lot of questions that you don't want to have to answer. So you might as well take the month and be absolutely sure that Drake May is the guy before you make that move. So let's say Jacoby Brissett gets hurt week 2. Who's your quarterback? So I still like the idea of the buffer quarterback and not Joe Milton. It's nothing against Joe Milton. I think, again, to some of the circus you're creating, Drake May not being the first rookie quarterback to start a game for the Patriots from that draft class raised a lot of issues that you just don't want to deal with. So do you sign Bailey Zappi off the Chiefs practice squad? Is that what you're doing? Just find some veteran, sign him to your practice squad, and out. If I would be comfortable, like if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt, I would be comfortable letting Drake May finish the game. Or you elevate, you make him the emergency third quarterback, you elevate the other guy, whatever. It's all a moot point. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they will let a Jacoby Brissett injury accelerate the timeline, just based on some of the things that they said the last week and a half of camp. Gerard Mayo talking about him being ready to lead a huddle and being the second best quarterback and things like that. The fact that they haven't added another quarterback that's moving on from Bailey Zappi, I think the whole buffer quarterback thing, well, it might be a good idea, is irrelevant because I don't think they're going to do it. Yeah, I agree. If Brissett gets hurt, May will go in there, sink or swim at that moment. And if Brissett comes back, then all of a sudden you've got a real crap storm on your hands about whether you play Brissett. And let's say it's been so-so with May. Let's say it hasn't been good with May. You're going to then bench the kid again in favor of Jacoby Brissett? Like that, some people are already not okay with the idea of benching Drake May to begin the year. You're going to bench him after he sees some game action. That is worst case scenario, Barth. I agree. Well, that's not great. And that's where I think the locker room comes in, and who has the buy-in of the other players on the team, and who do guys want to play for. And now you get into Tua's rookie year where he was starting, but they were benching him late in games for Ryan Fitzpatrick because that's what the team liked better. And yeah, if it's gotten that far, it's already gone too far. At that point, we'll have bigger things to discuss. All right, Alex Barth joining us for another segment here, so stick around. 617-779-0985. We'll take some calls with Barth. We'll get a college football preview as well. I promised him. It's how I had to lure him on the air tonight, Friday night of Labor Day weekend, which I'm sure Barth doesn't even call it Labor Day weekend. What do you call it? What is this week 1 for college football now that we've had week 0? Is that right? Yes. Leave it to college football, by the way, Barth, your sport, to not be able to count. Week 0, it makes no sense. But then, of course, the Atlantic Coast Conference has teams nowhere near the Atlantic Coast. It's the All Coast Conference now. Oh, that's right. Not really, but that's how I refer to it. No, this is the beauty of college football. None of it makes sense. Correct. Yes. No, the people who run it are dumb, and that's the way it goes. And they market it to people who... I'm not calling you dumb, Barth. I'm just saying it's the Atlantic Coast Conference. What's the latest team in the ACC? We won't do this. I won't belittle you, Barth. I enjoy your presence. I enjoy your company. I just get to do it for 3 hours tomorrow and for Gasper and Murray. We continue. It's McCarthy and Barth here. McCarthy and Barthy, as they would say, here on the Sports Hub in for Joe.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. Alex Barth alongside on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. We've got room for you on the phones at 617-779-0985. All right, Barth, college football. What do I need to know about it this year? What's the number one thing I need to know as somebody who watches Major League Football, not minor league football? What do I need to know? Give me your season
for
preview.
Patriots fans, it's tackles, right? And there's really two guys as this class looks right now. There's two guys at the top, specifically left tackles. I think we've all had enough of them trying to move right tackles to the left side. So you have Will Campbell at LSU, Kelvin Banks at Texas. They're both true juniors, both entering their third year as starters. These guys are projected to be top 10, maybe even top 5 picks. Remember last year we spent most of the season debating Drake. Once it became clear the Patriots were going to take quarterback, Drake made Jaden Daniels. That's what we're doing this year with Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks. Going into the season, now both these guys are young, so things can change. I like Campbell a little bit better. I just think he's a little more polished. He plays a little more nasty. Banks, though, is tremendous size, 6'4", 325, really powerful player, and excellent out in space, too. So those are the two guys to watch. They both play in the SEC, so they're going to face a lot of really good pass rushers, but I would say 95% chance one of those two guys is a Patriot come April.
Would you agree, though, that this is not as compelling as last year? I mean, even I, not being Mr. College Football, I was watched a lot of Michael Penix last year because I just fell in love with him. Would you agree that watching offensive tackles is probably not as interesting for the average fan?
Well, that's why I think, and most people I think will be on the same page. Remember last year when almost all of us knew we needed a quarterback? And there were still those people yelling from the back about Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
Well, they're going to have their guys this year because there's also 2 wide receivers in this class, also true juniors, that are really explosive, big-time playmakers that a lot of people are going to drool over. That's Luther Burden from Missouri and Tet McMillan from Arizona. And that's before we get to Travis Hunter, who, based on my Twitter mention today, a lot of Patriots fans are all hot and bothered about Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter, look, he's not going to be a two-way player in the NFL. Nobody is going to be a two-way player in the NFL. It's just an unrealistic expectation. There's so much more nuance to both positions at the pro level than there are in college that you can't properly prepare to play both week in and week out. And on top of that, it's just so much more physical. Physically, I don't know that you can handle it. Look, I mean, the Patriots tried with Marcus Jones, and he was only playing a handful of offensive snaps, and that was a massive workload on his plate. So I think Travis Hunter is probably a corner at the next level for him to really be the best player he can be. Now, we'll see what happens this year. Maybe he flashes more as a receiver. He's going to have to put more size on if he wants to play receiver, but I think he's a corner who's a gadget receiver at best. And as exciting of a player as he is, and as good of a player as he is, the Patriots don't need to use a top 5 pick on a corner.
Yeah.
They just don't. They're not at the point where they can do that, even if he is going to factor in a little bit on offense. I think Marcus Jones is a good player. He's not quite Travis Hunter, but if that's what you want to do it with Marcus Jones. You don't use a top 5 pick and say, well, we got this really good corner. Oh, and the reason we picked him so high is because he'll play 5 snaps a game on offense.
Alex Barth, 98.5thesportshub.com, joining us. How far up the draft board do they need to be to guarantee that they get one of those tackles, right? I mean, that was the conversation we had all of last year. Really before Jaden Daniels emerged, Barth, the conversation in October and into November a little bit was you need a top 2 pick. It needs to be Williams or May. And then, Jaden Daniels emerged, wins the Heisman, you name it. And, he really catapults May ultimately. People had Drake May as the number 2 guy going into the year. He ended up being the number 3. So ending up top 3 ended up being fine for the Patriots. How far up the board did they need to be this year to get that guy? Probably not as high as last year, right?
So this is where things get interesting. And if you want some juice, right, more juice than watching tackles, Patriots fans should be watching the top quarterbacks this year because we're essentially in that same conversation, but on the other side of it. There were teams who knew they weren't going to be top 3, were going to be 4, 5, and 6, hoping that 3rd or even a 4th quarterback came along to push Marvin Harrison Jr. down or to push Joe Alt down. So realistically, at this point, and it's still early, I would say to get one of those, if you're top 5, you safely have one of those tackles, even if you're 6. I don't think there's a huge gap between Campbell and Banks. If you're getting Banks at 6, you still did very well. But there's another side to this. They can also potentially trade down and get one of those guys if there are enough good quarterbacks.
Right.
So guys like Carson Beck from Georgia, Shadur Sanders from Colorado, who I thought had a great game last night, Quinn Ewers from Texas, Cam Ward at Miami. The more of these guys pan out, the better, because the best case scenario for the Patriots is they end up like 3rd, right? It's a 3-quarterback draft like last year, and instead of knowing, we have to sit and pick, it doesn't matter what's offered, we can get a bag, move down to 5, and get one of these tackles. Now you're off and running. So, to me, I think, unless they really surprise us, in which case tackle probably isn't as big of a need, if the offensive line is what we think it is, they'll be in position to draft one of these guys. They may not have their choice. I'm not too worried about that because I think they're both very good players. But can they be in a position where they're above some quarterback-needy teams and maybe even get a chance to trade down and take one of these guys? That's a conversation we didn't get to have last year that is very much going to be in play this year.
Barth, you would know this better than just about anybody else. Doesn't it feel like we're living in a day and age in the NFL? And you follow way more college football than, anybody I know in Boston, that's for sure. Aren't we in a day and age with college football and the draft where the quarterback is so important that it's almost like whether or not theoretically you're a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick? Doesn't it feel like we've entered a day and age in the NFL where those guys just get elevated to the top of the draft board simply for the position that they play?
Yes and no. I think there's a baseline to that. Look, Kenny Pickett didn't go first overall in 2022, right?
Sure, yeah.
Now, Kenny Pickett should have never been a first-round pick. He got elevated to the first round because he was just the top quarterback in the draft. Malik Willis, who just got traded, was another guy that was supposed to be a first-round pick at the time. So there's an element to that, but there is no Caleb Williams in this class. There is no Drake May in this class. I like Shadur Sanders, probably the closest, and I like Carson Beck. They might get right around there, but nobody's going to force themselves to move up. Like Caleb Williams and Drake May both had better seasons in 2022 than they did in 2023, right?
Yes.
They were having slightly worse seasons last year, but what they were on tape, the physical tools, teams didn't really care. Shadur Sanders is the one player you can maybe do that with. If Carson Beck has a so-so season, teams aren't necessarily going to rush for him. If Quinn Ewers is a so-so season, they'll still be first-round picks, but you might not get teams, giving it all up to get up the draft board to get those guys. So the better those guys are, it's good for the Patriots. I don't think those guys, outside of maybe Sanders, are top 10 locks the way that the quarterbacks were last year. They can get into the top 10, and other people can join them. Jaden Daniels at this time last year was projected undrafted. Other people can join them. But I don't think you have that. We don't really care what the production is. This guy's good enough type of quarterback in this draft this year.
All right, Barth, before I let you go, just give me something on college football. It doesn't have to be necessarily tied to the Patriots this year. Just what do you make of the competition? How's this thing going to shake out? Who's a team you really like? Who's a team you really dislike?
I mean, it all feels wide open, and it's kind of crazy with the fewer conferences. You get rid of one Power 5 conference. I love the playoff. I think, and I don't like this team. I don't root for this team, but just looking at the roster they put together, Ohio State has no excuse this year. Ryan Day has no excuse. They have 2 of the 3 best running backs in the country.
Did you hear that, Bert? No excuses. Sorry, go ahead.
They have the number 1 high school recruit who people are talking about as a better version of Marvin Harrison Jr. They brought in a competent quarterback in the transfer portal in Will Howard. They got 2 of their best defensive players back who didn't declare for the draft last year. If they don't win it this year, I don't know. This is as good a roster as anybody has, but it's Ohio State, so we'll see. I like them to go far. Teams I'm not as high on. I don't know, not as high on. I think a really interesting story this year, and maybe this does relate to the Patriots a little bit. I want to see what Alabama looks like without Nick Saban. I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach.
Yeah.
He did a good job at Washington, but, we're talking about Nick Saban. So people are still, top 10, penciling him into the SEC championship, assuming they'll be in the playoff, all that. I think it's fair. They have a really good roster. Jalen Milroe is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the country. Another guy who could maybe have that Jaden Daniels kind of rise and end up being a top 10 pick, but you don't just replace a guy like Nick Saban. And I think that's going to be a fascinating story all season.
I love the 12-team playoff format, too. More parity in the sport. Like, it's honestly, and, Barth, you and I have talked about this a lot. One of the reasons I was never really into college football is there was, frankly, never any parity to it. Bowl games were good and all that, once you get down to the real nitty-gritty at the end of it. But there are too many worthless games at the beginning of the year. Like, I've got Oklahoma and Temple on my television screen right now. It's 27-0. Like, it's a waste of time. That's what the majority of these
tonight's slate isn't great. I wouldn't go off tonight's slate.
No, but you know what I mean, right? There has never been parity. Has always been a problem in college football, and I feel like we're entering a day and age where we're starting to get a little bit of that. So that's good.
I think so, and I think as much as I hate them contracting the conferences and realignment, if there is one silver lining, some of these teams that wouldn't usually play each other, some of these blue bloods that wouldn't, like you look at Oregon having to go through the Big Ten or Oklahoma having to go through the SEC, we're going to find out. Sometimes you wouldn't find out until the playoff whether teams were real or not. And you would get teams like a few years ago, Michigan, just getting blown out in the playoff, or TCU getting blown out in the playoff, or whoever won the ACC. Like, you're not going to get that anymore because I think all of these teams will be more battle-tested. So there is more parity, but I think the bigger thing is you're not going to have fluke teams getting to the end because they played a weak schedule. I think if you get to the Final Four, maybe in the first round of the playoff you get some blowouts. I could see that, especially with it being on-campus games. But if you get to the bowl games, if you get to the round of 8 and a round of 4, like, you're battle-tested. You're a good team. There's not really going to be much doubt about what kind of team you are.
It's so good for the sport. It's a great point, Barth. Yeah. As always, great to have you on. Why don't we do this again tomorrow at 11 a.m., shall we?
Looking forward to it.
All right. Alex Barth, as all of our guests joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Excellent stuff from him. Hey, Brennan Bernardino still sucks, huh? Skaz, you and I both looked over at each other. I love how, when I work on the night show, or really just any show, but the night show because that's when Red Sox games are on. If something bad happens in the Red Sox game, it's like everybody's eyes in the room turn to me.
As soon as I saw that ball go over the wall, I just looked over and you were looking right at me like, yep, what did you expect?
Mm-hmm. I told you, Rich Hill is the best left-handed pitcher right now available to the Red Sox in the organization. What does that say? Well, tell me Brennan Bernardino is better than Rich Hill with a straight face. Do it.
What's more embarrassing, the Red Sox left-handed pitching situation or the Patriots left tackle situation?
Who's to say? They're both bad. Don't make me pick. It's awful. I see on the phone lines. I'm sorry. I get Barth on the phone. He and I just start going at each other. It's the way it is. Apologies. I'll get to you next. A quick update on this Red Sox game where it's gone from good to maybe not so good. Up next, and then we get to you. It's McCarthy in for Joe.
Sports Hub headlines.
Good news, Red Sox still lead. Bad news, it's not by much anymore. Brennan Bernardino serving up a 3-run homer. Is it 8th inning over in Fenway Park? Skaz is very combative tonight. He's fighting with people in the YouTube chat. It's gotten into you.
Yeah, just a healthy discussion. That's all. People say
we don't do combativeness on the night show. Skaz.
No,
it's
of course
supposed to be
not.
very, just calm, laid back. It's gotten into you. Been poisoned? What's the deal?
No, I like healthy arguments. I think it's good. So people saying that no one in New England has called out the Crafts. I just took umbrage with that. I thought that was patently false.
I would agree. I think it is patently false, and umbrage is a good term there to use. I'm glad you took umbrage with it. Just very combative. It's not. I don't normally see this from you.
I don't want to turn into Mike Lombardi or anything, but you see something like that, you got to say something.
That was combative. Passion. We do passion here. That's what we do. And then, I roll in tonight. I'm like, I'm not passionate about this. Real great way to start a radio program. I've done that the last 2 Friday nights on you, Skaz. Like, I come in with I really don't care about the Patriots quarterback situation take. I know Jacoby Brissett's going to play, so it is what it is. I'm not going to feign caring.
Yeah, the people that are shocked that it's Jacoby Brissett, I can't relate to that. I thought it was going to be Brissett the whole time. It is Brissett, and that's what it should be.
There's a small group of people out there who are shocked and appalled. Dondero came in last night. It was great. It was awesome to see. He comes in. He's like, dude, I could go for 8 hours tonight. I'm like, I couldn't, but good for you. I'm glad. Good for you, man. I'm glad about that. Trust me. I wish I were in that spot. I wish I were that fired up about it. Could come in all hot and bothered about it. I'm just not there. And I'm not going to pretend like I am. Nope. What you get from me, Skaz, authentic. If I'm mad, I let you know. It's not made up. And if I'm not mad and I don't give a damn, like I do about Jacoby Brissett and Drake May, I'll throw my hands in the air. It is what it is.
There's a non-zero chance that we get angry McCarthy tonight, depending on how the bottom of the ninth goes in Detroit.
Yes. No, and you know what? It will be valuable if that happens, because you'll say, the man's not making it up. He feels this way. The Red Sox make me feel a way. Brennan Bernardino, not great. Kind of sucks at his job. More than kind of sucks. Is Rich Hill the best lefty in the Red Sox organization right now? He might be. I wish I were joking about that. He might be.
I got one for you.
Sure.
While we're on them, why are the Red Sox so bad at home?
I don't think they build their team for home. How many right-handed power hitters do they have? Who's going to attack the monster? Nobody. Tyler O'Neill, when he plays. They don't have a lot of lefties who go the other way, like Yoshida does, but you're not going to play him because you can't even hide him in left field because Devers is hurt and DHing and all that.
I heard you and Milliken talking about that a little bit, and I agree. I just think that's such a bad look to have a guy like Yoshida with his second half, and you can't find a spot in the lineup for him. You can't put him in left field in Detroit or something.
It's a bad spot.
That's not good.
Bigger outfield there, so it's not ideal, right? But it's not ideal that your best hitter has a bum shoulder and is trying to play through it. So you have to adjust. And their attitude is we're not going to put Yoshida out there, which I just disagree with. I just do. But it is what it is. Kendall in North Carolina. Hi, Kendall.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing, Kendall?
All right. I got 2 questions. Well, yeah. One, what is the earliest y'all think that we will see Drake May? That's number one. And the second part of that question is what would Brissett have to do for May to get in? What if he plays okay, but we're still losing the games, And then how are we going to attract free agents to come to New England next year if we're not winning no games? I think Mayo came out and said, somebody said this year is not about winning, it's all about developing talent. So that's all good and all, but I'm sure we want to win some games. And if we don't, we're going to end up in another position like Brendan Ayuk and Kyrie, really guys are not going to want to come here.
I don't think it has anything to do with winning or losing games. All right, does it have a small part to do with? Yeah, you're not as desirable a destination if you're not competing, you're not contending, all that. It has more to do with their willingness or unwillingness to spend money. They've got $50 million in cap space. It's not about taxes. They're a factor. But, I heard that earlier this week. Oh, Bill Belichick, it's Taxachusetts. Yeah, Bill, like you get $50 million in cap space. I didn't hear you complaining about taxes when you were winning. Robert Kraft pulling the dog and pony show with the taxes earlier this year with Calvin Ridley. You've got $50 million in cap space.
Did taxes hurt the Celtics this offseason?
Right.
Does taxes hurt the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Nope. Oh, yeah, they signed Shohei Ohtani.
The Yankees?
You want to talk taxes? Let's talk taxes. Let's talk finance.
I think that is one of the laziest, just excuse-laden things I've heard. The taxes, that's why. No, it's because you don't give them guaranteed money.
Right.
It's all about guaranteed money.
Yep. And, okay, so let's say, all right, let's talk this out. Let's talk taxes, Skaz. Tax talk with McCarthy and Skaz. It's like we brokered time, like every other money finance whatever show you've ever heard on the radio. Let's talk some taxes here, Skaz. Let's talk brackets. Let's do all this. Taxes become a factor when two teams have the same deal on the table, same guaranteed money, all of that. And if one team's in Florida and one team's here, yes, you would expect that the Patriots would have to offer more to make up for the fact that there is income tax here in Massachusetts and a millionaire's tax, and that does not exist in some other states. Yes, of course. But that's not the biggest factor with the Patriots, is that they always cheap out on players. They've been cheap for a long time. Like, did DeAndre Hopkins not come here because of taxes or guaranteed money?
Guaranteed money.
To your point, has it hurt the Boston Celtics at all?
Certainly not.
For a long time. Did it hurt the Red Sox? When the Red Sox decided they wanted to spend money.
They spend money.
Were the Red Sox able to lure people here? Yep. Mm-hmm. Shohei Ohtani went to the Dodgers.
Are there taxes in California?
A lot of taxes in California. Many taxes. You know where he was also considering going? Toronto. Canada. There are taxes in Canada? You betcha. Oh, yeah. Such a lazy take. I agree.
McCarthy, when was the millionaire's tax introduced?
A couple years ago,
It was
right?
2023, I believe, was the first year it was fully instated. Mm-hmm. And Bill Belichick really had to deal with that for a long time, didn't he?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I couldn't yet. Hey, Bill, what's the property tax rate in Hingham? How's that? I could get you like a nice 3-bedroom in Halifax. You're probably not going to pay the property tax rate there. There's property taxes out on Nantucket for you, Bill. What's that? What's that property tax rate out there?
Wonder what states have the highest number of billionaires and millionaires living in them. I wonder if Massachusetts and California would be high up on those lists.
I'd say pretty high up on the list, yeah. I'm gonna say
That's bizarre, huh? How that works?
Yeah, just right, exactly. But no, it's your fault, Skaz. It's if my neighbor voted yes on one because he wanted an extra teacher's aide at Carver Elementary, we can't have a left tackle because Carver Elementary has an extra teacher's aide. Is it what? Huh? Is that how that works?
I think the only time, like you said, it comes into play, well, maybe 2 times, is when the teams have the same offer, and maybe for a fringe guy who's legitimately making $1 million,
yes.
$1.5 million.
Of course.
And guess what? If you're worried about those guys on your football team stinks.
Of course. You know who it is? It's a factor for the players. And like I heard Godshaw, and a couple guys complaining about it this week, that you can complain about it all you want. The players, the worker, you name it. You want to complain about it? You want to complain about taxes? It's too expensive to live here. It's way too expensive. I'm not a fan of it. Nobody's a fan of it. Devon Godshaw can complain all he wants, and I won't say don't complain. But to hear Robert Kraft complaining and Bill Belichick complaining, no, that's not the way that works. Sorry. Nope, I will not take that. No excuses. And what? I never heard about this before, by the way, when the team was good.
Don't remember that ever being a topic.
No, but now that they suck, and it's obvious that they're not willing to pay, it's no, the guys don't want to come here. It's too expensive. Or is it just that you don't want to give them guaranteed money? It's really that simple. We got in or out coming this way, coming your way next.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
More Joe Murray coming.
Guaranteed. I'm the best. Success is
These guys?
I did hear about this. Yes. It sounds like you had a good time as well.
It was great. You kidding me? This is the Big Mac. Get the fries. Oh.
I will say, as a former street teamer, I miss those freebies. Oh,
nothing better
you
than
get some free food. Yeah, maybe a T-shirt.
McDonald's too. Like, it's not. I try to eat healthy, believe it or not. Sometimes, at least with my meals, this is what I'm doing. I'm eating healthy with my meals. Get like a nice salad with salmon on it, so I can justify all the garbage that I eat outside of mealtime. Snacks bad, meals good. That's my approach. I generally don't do too much fast food. Doing that McDonald's Big Mac that day, just sitting there crushing that Big Mac. Oh, God, that was incredible. Highlight, no, seriously, the pinnacle of my professional life. How could it not be? You get to be the master of ceremonies at a McDonald's opening in North Station. What more could you want?
That's the dream right there.
Living it, man. Living it.
While we're on the discussion of health, I view Matt McCarthy as maybe the healthiest host on the station. Definitely right up there.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
What does that say about the people I work with, Skaz?
I mean, the bar isn't exactly sky high, but you're a big salmon guy, a lot of seafood when I see you, some salad, so I feel like you're right up there.
Wow. I mean, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, at the station,
you're right up there.
I am. I'm lanky for the most part. Yeah.
So with that in mind, are you in or out on pasta alternatives? Your chickpea pasta, your rice pasta, these healthy pasta alternatives. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out?
I'm offended that you even just asked that question. Are you serious? My girlfriend tried to get me whole wheat spaghetti. And I was like, get the hell out of here with this. Whoa, we have a Red Sox homer. Cedon Rafaela. What do I call him, Skaz? Winning baseball player. Winning. It's a winning baseball player. But back to the crime in my household. Whole wheat spaghetti. Not just the regular Prince spaghetti. Whole wheat, like organic spaghetti. I did it once, and I was like, never again. She's like, why haven't you eaten that spaghetti? I'm like, because it's not real spaghetti. It's terrible. And that isn't even a real pasta alternative, where you're talking about replacing the pasta. You just tried to take the pasta and make it healthier, which I reject. I reject totally. I am so out on this, beyond out on this. There's nothing more. Again, with the Zolak and Bertrand this or that the other day, like, would you rather give up pasta or bread? You have to give up one or the other. I take option B. You take me out back and you put a bullet in my head. That's it. I can't go on. Nope. I will not live in a world where I don't have my pasta, my bread, my carbs. You take your pasta alternative, Skaz, and you shove them.
Just the messenger. Just the messenger.
No. The pasta is going in my mouth. The real pasta. Your fake pasta can end up in the same place just through a different alternative. Through a different orifice. You get that out of here. Don't you ever ask me that question again.
Noted. All right, McCarthy, we'll head to the world of entertainment for this one. Deadline announced this week that a Steve Harvey biopic is in the works. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on a Steve Harvey biopic?
Out. I don't get the Steve Harvey thing. I don't. Like, I watch The Feud. Who doesn't like The Feud, right? You know what Steve Harvey says every single episode? It drives me crazy. We got two good families here. Do you? Do you really? Really? Because that person just said the dumbest answer I've ever heard ever on The Feud. So I don't think you have two good families here, Steve. I don't. What, just because he kind of gives you that look? I mean, it is, sort of funny. No, the Steve Harvey biopic, I don't need this. Like, what am I going to learn in a Steve Harvey biopic? Like how he screwed up the Miss Universe thing?
The repercussions of that might be kind of funny. Yeah, if it's like Family Feud, Steve Harvey, I'm kind of with you. But if it's like going back and like we get Kings of Comedy and stuff like that when he's like touring with, some of the biggest comedians in the world at the time, I think that could be kind of interesting. But if it's just like the day-to-day life of him doing Family Feud, yeah, I think I'm out as well.
Biopics in general, how are we feeling about this? Are we starting to get to the point where we are over biopiced?
I had to slip up our last in or out, McCarthy, when Kendra was here, so I don't want to Speaking of when I was talking about the Winnie the Pooh universe.
Yes. That was great.
But I would agree that
blood and honey.
They've gotten watered down, I think. I recently saw, I think it was on Disney or Apple, I can't remember. There's a Jim Henson one that just came out that I thought looked pretty good. There was a LeVar Burton one I watched some of that was pretty good.
Reading Rainbow, baby.
Yeah, I think we're getting, it's definitely watered down a little bit.
I like the musicians. Like, that's good. I like the Elton John one was good.
I've heard the Stevie Van Zandt one is pretty good on HBO, but I haven't watched that.
I need to check that out. Well, no, is that a biopic or is that a documentary?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a documentary.
I have not watched that one. Steve Van Zandt is interesting, right?
I mean, incredibly, yeah.
I mean, Springsteen's sidekick ends up on The Sopranos. Like, I know the morning show wouldn't find him as interesting. I find him to be a compelling type of guy.
I would agree.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up with this one tonight. I have no idea if this show is in your wheelhouse or not, but we are getting a One Tree Hill sequel series. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on a sequel series to One Tree Hill?
I have never seen One Tree Hill.
Me neither.
Okay, so I guess out?
Yeah,
out?
No idea.
So this was, but I feel like I should have seen this. This would have been my year. I mean, but again, was One Tree Hill really targeted at 14-year-old guys at the time? Premiered in 2003. I had a lot of friends who watched One Tree Hill. It was a big deal. It was the WB at that time. The WB. They had a lot of stuff going for them. It's more of a Saturday morning. Jesus, McCarthy, can you speak? Saturday morning cartoon kid on WB back in the 90s. Pokemon and all that. But no, like I feel like the WB's evening programming was targeted at teenage girls, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's like
more?
The OC before the OC, probably, or something like that.
The OC, there was a big one. California. I still remember those ads for that show. Everybody loved it.
Never seen it.
Not the target audience. So there you have it. I guess the out. Sure, out. I need to give an answer. Out! Be strong and passionate about it. That's the most important thing. Because Kaz, if you just come in and yell about it, that's the way radio works, right? That's how we do it. Be strong about it.
Not a yeller.
You're a lover, not a fighter. Except in the YouTube chat tonight, where you're belittling people's opinions.
I would never do that.
No.
love the YouTube chat.
I mean, my God, belittling people's opinion. What is it? The midday show today? What is that? Come on. All right, let's do a quick update, then right back with you.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston. We've got the Patriots covered.
Back to the home. He's in trouble. A sack.
It's an all-new season for the Pats, and you'll hear it all right here. 98.5, the Sports Hub, the Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Kenley Jansen blew a save for the Red Sox. Now the team has blown it open in the top of the 10th. Sox out to a 7-4 lead over the Tigers. Cedon Rafaela hitting a 2-run shot. Jarren Duran followed it up with a solo shot back-to-back. Wilyer Abreu now on second base. It looks like the Sox might find a way to escape this one after a bad ninth inning. Kenley Jansen blowing yet another save. Trevor Story, a DH in Worcester on Sunday as he starts his rehab assignment. Patriots were off today. They did, however, re-sign cornerback Isaiah Bolden to the practice squad. Second-round play suspended at the Tour Championship. Scotty Scheffler, your leader by 4 shots, and at the FM Championship at TPC Boston, Hainan Ryu, your leader at 13 under par. Headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. This September, make losing weight part of your new routine. Energy, clarity, better health. Finds it all at awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Matt McCarthy. I'm Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update, 30 minutes.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Never seen an episode of it, but it stuck around. I could still tell you about it.
Since it's a Friday night, McCarthy, what is the longest running show that you've never watched?
Oh, that's a really good one. I don't know.
Like Friends, I've never really sat down and watched an episode of Friends.
You're talking about it had to be on for a really long time and is culturally important.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Not just like a 5-season show that you missed.
Right. Like we're talking about, it was on for a really long time, and that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, honestly, maybe CSI, like something like that.
Yeah, it's another one where like I never really like Law and Order. I know it's been on my entire life. Probably I've seen episodes, but never sat down and watched it.
So that's the thing. Like, Cheers ran for a long time. It was before my time, but I've seen some episodes of Cheers. I'm not saying I sat down and watched it. MASH, same deal. Like we've all watched MASH at some point. Doesn't mean you watched the show. It was before your time. I mean, everybody watched MASH back in the day. Man, I remember reruns of MASH. Sitting there with my grandfather who was playing Free Cell on his computer. Like MASH would come on every day, and like that theme song to MASH, I think it was on like 12 or 1 o'clock on one of the local channels. I don't know, maybe it was Fox 25 or whatever it was, and they had MASH in syndication in the afternoon. MASH and Magnum PI. They had Magnum PI. It was MASH and Magnum PI. And then I think there was like Charlie's Angels too. He watched everything. He was retired. He just sat around and watched everything. Then the Game Show Network came along, and that was it.
Oh, love the Game Show Network.
It's been on at the McCarthy household here recently. Not as into it as I once was.
I like a good game show.
I enjoy a good game show, but you know what? I've become kind of a game show elitist.
Now that shocks me to hear.
What? That I look down on something and I say it's not good enough?
You're a Jeopardy guy. I know that.
Huge Jeopardy guy.
I'm a Jeopardy guy as well.
I don't think... Is Jeopardy the greatest game show of all time?
I think it almost has to be by default.
Agreed. Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, which I'm not as into the wheel. I have a theory, Skaz. You are either a Jeopardy person or a Wheel of Fortune person. You watch both, but you're either one or the other. Your brain works in a certain way.
Yeah, give me Jeopardy every day.
Me too. I look at Wheel of Fortune and I would have a Randy Marsh moment. Like I would not do well on Wheel of Fortune. I've actually considered taking the Jeopardy test. I do pretty well at Jeopardy.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, all right. So let's see, 5 times 6. So there are 30 questions, right? I probably get 15 to 20 of them. Like
I would
per
say
round.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd feel comfortable saying 15.
Is that is that good enough to get on Jeopardy? It probably is. You're scoffing at me. You're like, come on.
I can't remember if you were in. Were you in when we went over that unfortunate when the Celebrity Jeopardy?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Emily Hampshire had some of the worst answers you'll ever hear. If anybody's looking for something to watch after the show tonight, check that out.
No, definitely don't tune us out.
Yeah, no, of course not.
This is a Marconi Award-winning radio program. I don't know what you're talking about. This has been excellent. I think it's been top-notch for me. I think it's been my best show all year. No, but yeah, I think that's the way it is. You're either a Jeopardy person or a Wheel of Fortune person. So are you saying that you think I would have one of those moments if I went on Jeopardy?
No, I think you would know when and when not to buzz in. I think her biggest problem was just trying to buzz in. Just at all, and you got to pick your spots.
There are no heroes here. You're better off sitting there with 0 than sitting there with minus 5,000. That's what I'm always blown away by. It's like, how do you possibly go on Jeopardy and not make final? That has to be one of the most just degrading experiences. Like they kick you off the stage. It's like, hey, congratulations, jackass. You got here. You flew out to California, and California. Yeah, you're singing that song the whole time. You're humming it, and then you go minus 3,000. You get kicked off the stage. That's not great. Now it's one thing. Like the buzzer is half the battle, because most times people are going to know the answer. So you got to get lucky. You got to get the buzzer and all that. But like, just don't buzz in if you don't know the answer. Is it that hard?
Pressure does crazy things.
Now, listen, I make a number of wrong guesses in Jeopardy every single night, so I mean, I guess it probably is that hard because I can't shut up. I'd make some random guess just to, try and impress the person next to me, and it's not even close. All-time show, though. Price is Right or Wheel of Fortune? That's like tier 1. Like, we're talking about like tier 1, tier 2 game shows, right?
I take the weakest link over both of them.
Big weakest link fan. Who was the person who did it years ago? Ann something?
Yeah. It's Jane Lynch now, and she's pretty good.
She's good, but she's not the British Lynch.
She's not as mean.
I mean,
she's still kind of mean, but not as mean.
Used to love that show. Back when it did its original one. Where does Millionaire rank there? Like the original Regis Philbin Millionaire.
Yeah, I'd put that above Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right.
I would too. But again, you have to take the longevity into account here.
I'm also just like a huge trivia guy, I guess.
Too,
so yeah, it's just all trivia.
No, you don't. I would be so bad on Price is Right. I'd be way too boring. I wouldn't be jumping up and down like an idiot. I'd be like, Drew, just give me the car. And then, of course, what would happen to me is, I wouldn't end up in one of the stupid games. I would end up with the putt-putt game, and I would push it to the right just because I'm a sports guy who golfs, and I would go out there, and Bob Barker's out there, 87 years old, sinking putts, and I would go out there and push it right and miss on the new car. That would be me. That would be my Price is Right experience.
Get hit with the buzzer sounder as the putt goes right. There's no worse feeling.
Oh. It is the all-time greatest failure sound, right? The Price is Right buzzer?
Got to be up there.
A tier one of failure sounds. Brainstorm that.
As in Maz will do that on his tiers next week.
Are you kidding me? I'm probably going to do them tiers on Sunday. Those tiers, them tiers. Solo, 11-2 on Sunday, 10-2 on Sunday. I'll be doing everything. Labor Day weekend, failure sound tiers, go. 617-779-0985. We continue. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 9.
Take you in for Joe tonight. We got room for you on the phones at 617-779-0985. Red Sox just went final in Detroit. 7-5 win for the Sox in 10 innings. Cedar Rafaela with the big hit of the night, a home run in the 10th, putting the Sox up 6-4. Jarren Duran went deep right after that. Solo shot. 7-4, the Red Sox led. Martin came in, gave up a run in the 9th. The ghost runner scored. But other than that, Sox win the game. Another night where the Red Sox showed their resiliency, which, Skaz, if you've heard on the Baseball Hour at all, I mean, Maz and I have been talking about, pretty consistently with the Sox. It's like they are a resilient bunch and they fight. So they've got that going for them. I think tonight is more proof why they will not make the playoffs. And they won the game. And it's a good bounce back win for them after Kenley Jansen blew another save. They've got problems. They've got problems in that bullpen. Jansen is a problem now. I feel like we haven't talked about Jansen and his struggles enough since the All-Star break. He's given up runs in 8 of his 15 appearances. No, sorry, he's given up 8 runs in 15 appearances since the All-Star break. 7 of those games, I think, 7 of his 15, he's given up a run. I'd have to go back and look. It might be 6, it might be 7, but he has really struggled. 8 earned runs in his last 15 appearances. Not good.
And if you think it's a fatigue issue, you can't sit the guy. You can't give him a couple days off. I mean, maybe you can try and get around it with Martin or somebody like that, but you need Kenley Jansen if this team is going to have any hope of making a playoff push.
Kenley Jansen had 51 appearances last year. He's up to 47 now.
So maybe it is a fatigue thing, but with this team and this time of year, you don't have that luxury to sit him.
Nope. Now, does Liam Hendriks make things a little bit easier for them and interesting when he comes back? Maybe, but I'm not counting on it.
I don't think it's fair to him to count on it. Like, I like Liam Hendriks. I think he's a legit MLB bullpen guy. I don't know if he's still a closer. We don't know what he's going to look like. That's just a big ask for a guy coming off that kind of injury.
And I'm guessing actually these stats probably aren't updated. I'm guessing it's 48 appearances. I'm just on the MLB website. So, yeah, I mean, and he struggled over his last 15 games. There's no doubt about it. He was great in the first half. I mean, you could argue should have been an all-star with how good he was, and it's been anything but that in the second half for Kenley Jansen because he's an older guy with a lot of tread on those tires, and this is ultimately what it is. And you're right, there's no way around it. Jansen just needs to be better, and I don't know if you can count on that. So tonight, more proof to me why the Red Sox are not going to make the playoffs, even in victory. Somebody says, shocker that a fat 40-year-old who's always complaining is breaking down. Let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. He did come into camp, it feels like, out of shape. It feels like he pitched his way into shape. But also, too, I mean, he's had the back injury flare up on him a number of times. The breakdown is real with Kenley Jansen, and you probably could have seen this coming. By the way, doesn't make it a bad signing. It's one of Chaim Bloom's better signings. That, he's still, over the course of his contract been a, net positive for the Red Sox. It's just a concern going down the stretch. Can this pitching hold up? And we often talk about that, in the context of Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford and, the guys getting to Jansen. We have not paid enough attention to the fact that Jansen has not been good since the All-Star break. So there you have it. Tanner Houck was excellent tonight. Really good. 6 innings. I have to pull this up here. It was the bullpen that was ultimately the problem for the Sox. Again, shocker. This bullpen has been a real issue for them. Trying to pull up Tanner Houck's box score for you tonight. Loading. You would think I'd be able to do this. Where's the box score? Here we go. Thank you, MLB Network, MLB.com, whatever you are. Tanner Houck, 6 innings, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. In comes Brennan Bernardino. This guy. I've been joking that Rich Hill is the best lefty available to the Red Sox right now. Brennan Bernardino actually proved me right in that regard. And again, I was only half serious in saying it. Gave up a 3-run bomb. Slayton had to come in, get out of it. Slayton coming back is a big deal Big deal for this team, particularly as the rest of the bullpen crumbles around him. Martin's been pretty good since he's come back as well. Jansen is a problem. Bernardino is a problem. Sims and Garcia, forget about. Don't need those guys. Slayton, Martin, Hendricks, you never know what he's going to give them. Jansen and Bernardino. That's the issue right there. Milliken said he would start Rich Hill. He'd use Rich Hill in the rotation. I'd use Rich Hill as your primary lefty out of the bullpen right now. I think that's where they need him. Matchup against a guy late in the game, has pitched to a million guys who he can pitch to righties to. Bernardino proved again tonight why Rich Hill should be your primary lefty reliever. That's how I would use him. 617-779-0985. First place in the city to talk about the Red Sox as they pick up a 7-5 win tonight, but it wasn't all great. Imagine where they would have been after this game. Detroit would have only been a half game behind them. Big swing game for them. The resiliency is still there with this team. It's still there, which has been their calling card. I just don't know if they have enough. We'll get an update on the Twins here and what they're doing in Sports Hub headlines. Sox could be only 2.5 back if Minnesota loses tonight. We'll get to that here momentarily. It's McCarthy here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
And the Twins playing Toronto right now. In the bottom of the fifth inning, they have a 1-0 lead, runners on. So the Red Sox right now, if everything holds, would not pick up a game on Minnesota tonight. But again, that game's still relatively early, bottom of the fifth. Minnesota out to a 1-0 lead. Red Sox a 7-5 win. Cedon Rafaela, 2-run shot in the 10th inning after Kenley Jansen. McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight. I tried. Honest effort to talk sports on the Friday night of Labor Day. That was, I mean, you want to, that's fine. We can do Red Sox after the game. First place in the city, you can talk about him. Give us a buzz at 617-779-0985. But I love the people in the YouTube chat. How could you not? A lot of people out there agree that Jeopardy is the all-time GOAT game show. A lot of people out there. Some people say of shows that ran for a long time that you never saw, maybe like Everybody Loves Raymond falls into that category. Like, it was on for 9 or 10 seasons, but it would be the type of show where a lot of people probably didn't see it. I have seen a number of episodes of Everybody Loves Raymond, so that doesn't fall. I really think it'd be like CSI or NCIS or one of those that I've never seen. Shows that run forever. What else do we have here? A couple sports things. Here we go. McCarthy, Ocarina of Time anniversary, best show, no doubt. I don't remember what we did for the show, but I do definitely remember talking about the Ocarina of Time anniversary. Greatest video game of all time, bar none. Anybody who says it's not Ocarina of Time, you immediately have to challenge their opinion and say, no, good sir or madam. You have it wrong. Ocarina of Time, greatest video game ever made. And the new Zelda movie should just be Ocarina of Time. Don't take any other story. Don't create a story. You already have the perfect story. Ocarina of Time. There you go. JP from North Providence checks in. He says, McCarthy, how about Hollywood Squares and Match Game? You can put them on the list. I just don't think they're T1. People checking in. Ann Robinson, the lady from Weakest Link. Yes, Ann Robinson. God, she was great. McCarthy, how about Stump the Schwab? Criminally underappreciated game show. Yes. Why have we not gotten more sports trivia shows? We get trivia shows, a million of them. How about the sports trivia ones? I know we have Sports Jeopardy. Like, why hasn't that taken off? You think about the amount of garbage they put on ESPN. How about a nice little game show for us? Nice little Sports Jeopardy, whatever that may be. Your version. Stump the Schwab? Great. Love the Schwab. The Schwab was awesome. Sneaky, underappreciated. Sneaky, one of my favorite game shows of all time. I loved it. And yes, the Schwab passed recently. Just tough. Tough moment there. What else do we have here? McCarthy, very important question. What kind of peanut butter, Skippy or Jif? Such a good question. I go Skippy. But you know what I've started doing recently because I tried to be healthier? Started going with the Teddy. You got to twist it around, stir it around. It's got the oil in there. And then, I don't know for what reason, somebody brought over peanut butter to the house. I was thinking this today. I was like, where did this peanut butter come from? And it's Skippy. Oh. So good. Got that little extra sugar kick to it, which is why I stopped doing it in the first place. But, oh man, just smooth. It's whipped. It is whipped peanut butter. It's perfect. This is like the texture of it. Oh, my God, that's great. I could do spoonfuls upon spoonfuls of that. Brian Griffin checking in. Immaculate Grid would make a good game show. Ooh, Peter, this is a good one. Lost, a show that was on forever that you never watched. Yep, Lost, right there with you. $100,000 Pyramid. I was watching it last night. Doesn't do it for me. I don't know what about it. Just doesn't do it for me. But real quick though, on the peanut butter thing, as I go through the YouTube chat here. You know, TSA now considers it a liquid. To which, if you really think about it for a second, if we're talking about the Teddy or the Smuckers, you know, the original, not to say the organic, the all natural peanut butter. If we're talking about that. You do have to stir that up, and it's got the oil there. Peanut butter, technically, a liquid. I wanted to hate this take. It's a TSA take. I wanted to hate it, but the more I think about it, the more it is. Peanut butter equals liquid. To which, a question was then asked: is mayonnaise a liquid? How about what can we consider a liquid? Anything that looks like it would be a bomb on an airplane, liquid. I'll go with that. 617-779-0985. But love the YouTube chat. Love all you in there. Skaz is in there. He's only fought with a few of you. I'm just doing my thing. Doing my thing in for Joe Murray. Jack in Weymouth. Jack, what's up?
Hey, McCarthy. Glad to hear all your thoughts about peanut butter, but well, I want to talk about Joe Milton being the next Taysom Hill. Put him back in the Wildcat formation, run a couple double reverses with Drake May. We've been talking about the O-line, the quarterback situation. Let's talk about some fun things and some things that could help us down in the future. Joe Milton's a special athlete, 6'5", 230. Throw the ball. He can run the ball. I'm sure he can catch the ball.
He's so fun, Jack. He's so fun. I mean, he sucks, but he's so fun. And no, I don't want the Taysom Hill situation. I want to develop a quarterback. I don't want the gimmicky thing, the Wildcat stuff. I've hated that forever, so I will continue to hate it, even though you're in a situation where the Patriots are boring and, all that, and Jacoby Brissett's your quarterback. I just can't buy into it. I can't. But I will ask Alex Barth, the biggest Joe Milton fan on the face of the planet, Alex Barth, who coined the term, if you need a guy to throw it 80 yards, he'll throw it 80 yards. If you need a guy to throw it 5 yards, Joe Milton will throw it 80 yards, which sums up Joe Milton. I think the real question is, week 1, Jacoby Brissett gets hurt. Who's playing? Drake May or Joe Milton? It's going to be Drake May. It probably should be Joe Milton or anybody else. I'm not putting Drake May in there until he's ready. And the second he goes in, whether it's for injury or anything else, the second he goes in, you can't go away from him. So I bring back Bailey Zappi off the practice squad in Kansas City if that happens. Wouldn't be as fun as Joe Milton, but Joe Milton can't play in the league. So, but boy, the talent is tantalizing. That arm, that's a cannon for an arm. Man, you go from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi to Drake May and Joe Milton with those cannons. Absolute howitzers, those guys. I mean, roll them out there for the 1812 Orchestra on the 4th. Boom. And for years, I had some of you people telling me that Mac Jones's arm was fine. That's fine. Really? Now you see what a real NFL arm looks like in these guys. Craig in the car. Hey, Craig.
Hey, McCarthy, big fan. I listen to a lot of the shows. I'm happy when you're on it.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man. You do a great job.
Thanks.
Just wanted to dissect the reasoning behind this quarterback decision, how they were saying it's best for the organization. I can't really understand how that is so. If you're going to focus on Drake May development, how are you going to have him backing up Jacoby Brissett behind this line? And additionally, we can't even get, Brandon Ayuk, I know we had the stats last year, but, he's probably top 10, and we were going to shell out some bucks. The guaranteed money probably wasn't as good, but we can't even get that guy in here. So what kind of image are you giving to these potential acquisitions by throwing out this garbage offensive line with somebody as exciting as Jacoby Brissett behind?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Craig, I hear what you're saying on that. And, yeah, I mean, you've established your franchise as a loser franchise. Boy, that happened fast. Like the Brady shine really wore off on this organization real quick because they basically went in the tank the second he left. And it hasn't been good since. And you also don't pay. And that's the biggest thing right now. You're like, yeah, Brandon Ayuk didn't come here. The guaranteed money probably wasn't what it needed to be, and that's the point. Your reputation around the NFL is a team that's not very good, and more importantly to these guys, and it should be. I mean, you play football, you've got a short amount of time to make some money. You're putting your body on the line. It should be all about, or mostly all about, making as much guaranteed money as you can. The message you've sent to these guys is that we don't pay. You're going to get a better offer somewhere else. So it's not about taxes. It's not about any of that. It's about guaranteed money. Guaranteed money. And if you don't guarantee the money, you're not worth anything in the NFL. And the Patriots have spent the last 25 years playing games with contracts. And every NFL team does it, but the Patriots more than just about anybody else. Incentive-laden deals. You got to sing for your supper instead of guaranteeing money. DeAndre Hopkins isn't here because of taxes, folks. Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft. DeAndre Hopkins didn't come here because he didn't guarantee the money. Same could be said for Calvin Ridley, a real NFL starting left tackle, or just about anybody. Guaranteed money. They don't do that. It's not a part of their business model. Well, if you don't do that, winning isn't going to be a part of your business model either, and it certainly hasn't been. 617-779-0985. My goodness. My goodness, we have reached this moment of the night, and not a moment too soon. It is time for Murray's Musings with McCarthy and for Murray here on the Sports Hub. We'll do that next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
take. Murray's got all sorts on.
Are we not talking enough about the astronauts who are stranded in space right now? I feel like this has just been totally brushed aside. We got 2 astronauts up there at the International Space Station, and they finally decided they're going to bring them home in like February or something when SpaceX heads up there. We are not talking about this. They were not supposed to be up there this long. We just got astronauts floating up there. What's the deal with that? That's not good. Can you imagine thinking you're going into space, and I don't know how long they thought they were going, a week or whatever it is. Can you imagine thinking, and they're like pros. Sunita Williams, I think, has ties to the Cape. Can you imagine thinking you're going on a week-long mission, and then they're like, nah, we can't bring you back. You know, that ship you came up in, we got some problems. Boeing, I don't know if you've heard, kind of some issues. Kind of some problems. Yeah, not great. So you go up there, you think you're going up for a few days, and it's like, hey, no, we can't bring you back. I mean, have you ever missed a flight and like your plans get delayed by a day? You're losing your mind. I was supposed to be in Philadelphia 2 days ago, but the snowstorm happened, my flight got delayed, you named it. I need to be home, I need to get home, whatever it is. Imagine floating in space for that long, being like tin box floating around the earth. This sounds like my hell. I think I'd rather die. Like, I'm good. I'm good with this. Hey, I'm not going to space in the first place. Like, whatever. That would be a cool experience for about 5 minutes. You go up there, you float around, you look down at the earth, you're like, this is incredible, this is amazing, and then it gets real old real fast. I'm an adventurous person. I like traveling. All that stuff. I'll go anywhere on planet Earth. You're going to look down and be like, oh, geez, that's a long way down, huh? So, when are we going? So, re-entry, huh? What's the deal with that? So we go through the atmosphere and we just hope we don't burn up. We hope Joe in engineering built this thing right so we don't blow up. We don't burn up. I think I'm good. Think I'm good with this whole scene. Not talking enough about it. Out. I'm reading in the New York Post, Boeing and NASA had a huge argument over Boeing wanted to bring him back. I got into this whole thing, and NASA's like, yeah, they're going to burn up. This is not going to be good. Boeing was convinced the Starliner was in good enough condition to bring the astronauts home. NASA disagreed. Strongly disagreed. Quote, the thinking around here was that Boeing was being wildly irresponsible. No, no, you don't say. Wow. I don't know if you people read the news at all, but wow. Not great. So now Elon Musk needs to come bring you back. That's the way that thing's going to go down, huh? Counting on Elon to give you a ride home? One bit. What's the deal with space, Skaz? What's the deal with it?
Out. I'm out on space.
Healthy. You've often talked about how we as humanity need to have a healthy fear of the ocean.
I'm also out on the ocean, yes.
I mean, really, space is like the ocean, except it's up there. And it's bigger. Way bigger. Like, the ocean will come and get you. In space, you're just going to float. You ever think about just floating, no control? What happens if you, have a misstep during a spacewalk? Are you just going to float forever? That's the way that thing works, right? I don't think it works like WALL-E, where he takes the thing out and he kind of blasts himself all throughout space. I don't know if you can do that. Problematic. I got to pull up some birthdays for today. I always forget this. Famous birthdays. Peter the Cruel was born on this day in 1334. I don't know how we necessarily have dates for that, but there you go. I'll take your word for it. Cameron Diaz is 52. What else do we have here? Scrolling. Andy Roddick is 42. We were just talking about Andy Roddick a few minutes ago. Skaz, you made a great point about Andy Roddick. He's only 42. When was the last time you heard from Andy Roddick doing anything?
Guy's living the dream. Retired early.
Who did he marry?
I think Brooklyn Decker. I think. who was in one of those Adam Sandler movies that was straight to Netflix, I'm sure.
Andy Roddick, wife. Who is this? Yeah, Brooklyn Decker.
Retired at 4. I mean, the guy's living the life.
He looks so much like Josh McDaniels. You ever notice that? Andy Roddick, Josh McDaniels. Just give them both a visor. Both would be equally good as NFL head coaches.
He's got a little McDaniels in there. I can see it.
It's a little smidge of McDaniels. He's got that going for him. Who else was born today? Bibi Rexha. She was a singer. Is a singer. Aaron Rodgers' brother, Jordan Rodgers, born on this day in 1988. Happy birthday to him.
We know Aaron's not wishing him one.
We certainly know that. Nothing like being completely disowned by your family, huh? When you're a rich person, too. Can you imagine that?
Kind of on Team Aaron, I think.
That guy was a tool, yeah.
Like, I get it, Aaron Rodgers is... I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but your brother goes on, like, reality TV and won't shut up about you. Kind of on Team Aaron.
Didn't Odell Beckham Jr.'s brother do that? Wasn't he on Love Island? I don't know. I'm fairly certain he was.
I know you're deep into Love Island. I've missed that.
I was not this year. This summer I wasn't as into it, but I've seen Love Island, the last 2 seasons of Love Island leading up to this. Michaela not a Love Island?
Oh, she is. That's being watched right now, I'm sure, while I'm here.
Yeah. No, you're right. You do, Skaz, you do miss out on this stuff. Working nights.
What a shame.
You got it figured out, man.
Real bummer.
You know how many nights it's like, the Red Sox are losing 8-3, baby, you can have this. You want to watch Love Island? No, not really. And then you get sucked into it. Oh, the drama.
Yeah, Love is Blind is big in the household.
Ooh, Love is Blind. I do like the concept of Love is Blind.
Sure, I guess.
You know what, Skaz? You should give it a shot. It gives you the amount of content there is to make fun of. Now, would Michaela, would she mind that?
She doesn't have a choice. She knows the side commentary is coming. I've watched some of Love is Blind, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It is. I will say the the people watching aspect, I guess you would say. I know it's every TV show is people watching, but just maybe the people evaluations you're doing watching these people, that's the interesting part. The show itself, whatever, but the side commentary is what gets me through it.
Yeah, you're like, these are the worst people on planet Earth. I hate them all. No, I really like Joe. Yeah, no, he's a DB. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. No, you should give it a shot. Love Island next year with Michaela. There you have it. It's Murray's musings.
You say Ted Williams' birthday.
Is it really now?
It is Ted Williams and Robert Parrish's birthday today.
How about that? You way better at looking at the birthday list than me.
How about one Warren Buffett?
What is he, like 94 now at this point?
On the money, McCarthy.
Whoa!
On the money.
Well, I mean, I'm into the stock market now, guys.
That's true. You're a big stock guy now.
Yeah, right. I quit my sports gambling, and now I'm into the stock market. Now I'm at Intel was a good buy. Strong. Good move by your guy. Oh, no, it's a good company. I'm sure they'll bounce back. No, McCarthy. It was a good company in 1999, you jackass.
How about Cameron Diaz's birthday?
I did mention when producers aren't listening. You had a conversation with me.
Just talking to Neil. The only people left in the building, us and Neil.
Yes. Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Belarus. Not a good guy. I feel confident in saying that.
Met Cameron Diaz once. Very nice.
Was she really?
Her and Tom Cruise, both pretty nice.
How about that? I met Vanna White once.
Oh, love that. Vanna White, very smartly, owns the rights to the Wheel of Fortune games you see in casinos. That is how she makes a good chunk of her money.
Genius. I've got space calls. We'll get to that. I'll tell you my Vanna White experience. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. I mean, there's a big market tease. You want to hear about the time I met Vanna White? Skaz says yes. He's nodding back there.
Oh, any Vanna White story, I'm in.
617-779-0985. It was actually, I'm telling you, it was an eye-opening experience. We'll do that after the headlines.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the Patriots.
Into the end zone.
Here.
Touchdown for the Patriots.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox beat the Tigers 7-5 in 10 innings tonight after Kenley Jansen blew a save in the ninth. He ultimately gets the win, because that's how that rule works. Cedar Rafaela with a 2-run shot followed by a solo home run from Jarren Duran. The difference in this game tonight, Tanner Houck was good. 6 innings of scoreless ball. Bullpen not so good. Brendan Bernardino giving up a 3-run shot, but the Sox win. They play the Tigers tomorrow. Skubal on the mound for the Tigers, so one to watch out for there. Sox, as of right now, would not pick up a game on Minnesota. Twins leading Toronto 2-0, heading to the bottom of the 7th. Kansas City trailing Houston 1-0, but don't worry about Kansas City at this point. It's all about the Twins. Trevor Story's going to DH in Worcester starting on Sunday as he begins his rehab assignment. Tour Championship second-round action suspended today. Scotty Scheffler leads by 4 shots. FM Championship at TPC Boston. Hainan Ryu, your leader, at 13 under par. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update, 30 minutes.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
McCarthy in for Joe. We can do sports for the next hour if you want. Friday night, Labor Day, you know how it goes. What do you want here, Skaz? You want a phone call on space, or do you want my Vanna White story?
Let's go to the phones first.
Let's hear from the people. Why not? Nate on the porch. It says the porch. I'm assuming it's the porch. Nate, are you on a porch somewhere?
It's on the porch, McTicky.
What's up?
First off, I think you get a bad rap. I like listening to you. You go on Felger and Maz near the contrarian, and they all crap on you. I like what you have to say.
Thank you, Nate.
My space take is this. Love that you brought it up. The main thing to think about, and this would go on Zolak and Bertrand in the midday, is would you rather have to go to deep space or to the deep ocean?
Ooh. Nate, hold on for 1 second, all right? I want you to stay on the line, because I can hear in the background like the sound of the crickets, the chirp. Can you just stay quiet for 2 seconds?
That's the porch, McTakey.
I don't know if anybody out there can hear that. He's on the porch. Man's on the porch. That's a porch sound. I hope, Nate, I love you, mean it, really. Thank you for the kind words. I hope that porch is screened in. Not great things going on with mosquitoes right now. Bad. Mosquitoes, bad. Triple E, bad.
Very bad, yeah. Wear long sleeves and pants if you're taking the dog out at night.
As somebody who spent part of my childhood in Carver, which is literally the Triple E capital of the world. It's always the first town, always. I kid you not, every year to test positive for Triple E. We always had our sporting events canceled, postponed, moved to afternoons because of Triple E. It's no joke, man. How have we not fixed this by now? It's mosquitoes. This is a problem. And we get to work on this. Think about it. Of all our great societal advancements, why are mosquitoes still a thing? What do they bring? Like the ecosystem and all that. What do mosquitoes do for us? Like bees, I get what bees do. What do mosquitoes do? How do they contribute to this thing?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I thought you were like an animal guy.
Not a mosquito guy.
Mosquito's an animal.
Insect.
Yeah, generally out on insects. Mosquitoes, bad. Now really bad. Not just annoying, bad. So yeah, seriously, be safe out there. Long pants, long sleeves, put on some bug spray. It's no good. We've had, 2 people at this point this year? It's a bad season for it. Feels like we need a frost, Skaz. We need an early frost. Now, here's the problem with that. Early frost, bad for the farmers, right? Bad for the crops. We got to weigh this out. It's not good. We got to whack some of those mosquitoes out there. We got to figure out what to do. Years ago, they used to spray for it. I don't know if they're still spraying. I think they're spraying. I remember the airplanes going over, the aerial spraying. That's when you knew it was a bad mosquito season. Aerial spraying. There's a guy in Carver way back, old timer, old school. His name was JD. If you lived in Carver, you knew who he was. He ran the DPW scaz. This guy was like, when the mosquitoes came around, he would like fight with the people at the county. He wanted certain areas that were sprayed extra. He went down there, either the ball fields in Carver, the Little League fields. He was like, I want you to bomb those things with all kinds of pests, whatever you need. He's like, there better not be any mosquitoes in those trees. Old timer. He's like 80 years old, like rolling up. He's like, we'll keep the kids away from here for the next 48 hours. We don't want that, but you better spray those things. He's like, you better get any mosquito poison you've got out there. He's like, I told him, you go right into those trees. You spray all that stuff. I'm like, can this really be good? It's like, you spray them. It's not great. All right, Vanna White. My Vanna White story. Skaz, I have, in my travels, news reporting, radio, you name it. I have encountered many people who have entourages. Former presidents, sitting senators, sitting governors, you name it. Athletes. The biggest entourage I ever saw was not George H.W. Bush. Relatively small Secret Service thing for him. Detail for him in his 90s. Relatively small. The largest entourage I have ever encountered was Vanna White. I swear to God, Skaz, she had 15 people with her. Including, and I'm not joking about this, doubles. Vanna White has doubles. She had people that looked exactly like her. It was here at the Beasley Media Group many years ago, before we were the Beasley Media Group, but it was in the old building on Morrissey Boulevard, and she did 3 radio interviews. She changed her clothes for every single radio interview, not TV, radio. And her entourage, Skaz, was the largest group of people I've ever seen in my life. Vanna White.
Kind of respect that.
I mean, if you take a shot at Vanna White, you don't know if you're going to get Vanna White because she has doubles. She had people in her group who looked exactly like her and were there for the sole purpose that they look like Vanna White. They introduce a reach out. You had to wait and see which person extended their hand to say, I'm Vanna White. It was kind of like a Queen Amidala situation. It's like, wait, which one is Queen Amidala? I don't know. Sitting senators, governors, you name it. Former presidents of the United States. Smaller entourages than Vanna White. Pretty incredible. And you know why? Because it turns out she can afford all those people. Because according to Skaz, she owns all the rights to the Wheel of Fortune casino.
Oh, she's getting a cut.
That's how you do it. Royalties, baby. Royalties. Jeff in the car. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, I'm out on buying a vowel on Wheel of Fortune, man. All these people throwing their money away. I mean, if you know there's E's in the word, you know the word is elephant. Why are you buying the E's? I'm out on it. What's wrong with these fools?
Great take. Honestly. Skaz, have you heard that take before? You shouldn't buy vowels on Wheel of Fortune?
I don't know. I kind of like it, though.
I do, too. Bold strategy. You just go straight consonants. I feel like you need the vowels at the beginning, though.
Yeah, at the beginning, yes. But once you're figuring it out, you shouldn't need them.
Okay, so that's a fair point. Like, are people being... No, you should always... you need to get money to buy a vowel, right? So you start with RSTLN, one of those. Then you buy the E. If you need the A, you go from there. And then, once you know, consonants, you just leave it right there. You don't buy the vowels. Aggressive take. I like it. A new style of playing Wheel of Fortune. You know what I hate about Wheel of Fortune? Is the prize puzzle is basically how you determine who goes on to the final round. The bonus round or whatever they call it. They give you a trip to Barbados or whatever, and they count that in your winnings. So all you need to do is win the prize puzzle, because the prize puzzle is generally in the 5 figures, so there you go. It's rigged. It's all about winning the prize puzzle. You don't need to be good at any other game, you just got to stumble ass backwards into that thing. It's a problem. I'm going to send them a strongly worded tweet after I do the why did you hire Ryan Seacrest? Bad. Can anybody else in this business get a job besides Ryan Seacrest? I believe the answer is no. 617-779-0985. People want to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on with me to talk about space.
Out on Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I am too.
Out.
He delivered the commencement address at UMass when my brother graduated from there.
It could be worse speakers, I guess.
There could be worse speakers, but not once did he mention the University of Massachusetts.
That's a power move.
It is. He just came right out there and did his generic commencement speech.
He's just got one copy and pasted for every university.
I mean, was he better than my commencement speaker, which was David Boreanaz from the TV show Bones?
Oh, that's classic right there.
I mean, we're like, what are we doing here?
I think he shows up as David Borealis in Family Guy every once in a while in the night sky.
Angel?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's about all I know him from.
The class after me got David Muir, and we got David Boreanaz. Yeah, it wasn't the best commencement address I've ever heard. One kid I knew drunkenly interrupted it by laughing at one of Boreanaz's serious moments. It was what it was. It was what it was. What's the deal with commencements? Shouldn't we just eliminate those? Aren't they the biggest waste of time out there? Nobody wants to go to them.
I did not attend my college graduation. I was working that day, and I went to work.
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Really, of anybody. Like, sir, you go to a college commencement. Is anybody walking away being like, I'm inspired by what that person said?
My degree is now worth more because I sat through that speech.
Yep. No, you're just staring down the barrel of crippling student debt. You're jobless, and you're like, what the hell am I going to do next? But no, this guy said to persevere. This guy said to fail. Great. You jackass. I mean, every once in a while, you might stumble into a good... I've seen, Mr. Rogers' commencement address, and you're like, that would have been a good one.
Yeah, I don't think Bridgewater State had the budget for that.
That would have been strong. You're like, Mr. Rogers is going to come to me and talk to me like I'm 4 years old again in a good way. Yeah, into that. We're going to get in touch with the inner child. Yes, thank you very much. That would be worth attending. But I don't know, we're going to trot out the guys from Ben and Jerry's. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? Oh, this lady runs the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Great. Cool. Maybe one day. Skaz, I'll know when I've made it, when I get to do a commencement address somewhere. When Ithaca College invites me back one day to do a commencement address. And it will be terrible. It will not be good. We continue. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way.
None of us do.
You're right. Thank you for the call. Well, do some research on that. Our crack research team is going to give a look at that, Skaz.
Yeah, I believe malaria is like number one far and away.
Malaria, not good.
Not good.
Don't want malaria. Glad we don't have that. It is mosquito-borne. How have we not figured out how to weed them out at this point with all of our technology? These stupid little bugs still coming for us. Not only are they annoying, they're dangerous. It's not good.
We're off the rails. It's 10:25 before Labor Day weekend. You talk about things that irk you that we don't have technological advancements on. One that bugs me is just dental care and teeth in general. I feel like it's so archaic how the teeth are handled and treated and all that. I feel like there should just be, it's 2024. You should be able to just slap some new ones in or something at this point.
Agreed.
I think it's wild that we're still doing everything we do with teeth.
They're tricky little things, aren't they? Teeth. They're not great, and you need them.
Oh, you certainly need them.
So I mean, think about it too. It only took until theoretically a few years ago to figure out that brushing your teeth and fluoride and stuff is good for your teeth.
Who would have thought?
I mean, but no, in all seriousness, it has taken us this long. Think about how dumb teeth are, right? That for years it took some level of human advancement to take care of them. And I mean, obviously there have been many different ways that we have human beings have figured out how to live longer, live better lives, deal with illnesses, you name it. But the caveman probably figured out how to bathe, right? How to clean. But your teeth, that's like a last 100 years type of thing. Less than. That's wild to me. Now, of course, we have figured out how to bathe and clean ourselves in, much more advanced ways. Throwing them out with the bathwater type of thing. It's not, like it was in the 1800s, way back. But we figured that out. The concept of it, we figured out. The concept of cleaning your teeth is relatively new to human beings. Isn't that wild?
That speaks to how dumb we are as human beings.
No, it speaks to how dumb teeth are. You're right. Shouldn't we just be able to flash a laser at it and you're good? It's clean?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Kind of is a pain in the ass. And I'm not a parent, but the brush your teeth at bedtime battle.
Can't be a winning battle.
It's never a winning battle. It's never a winning battle. And we're still doing this, huh? We're still doing this. Good take there, Skaz. Good thought. How do we address this?
I don't have solutions. I just have questions.
It's true. That's what we're not here to fix things. We're just here to raise questions about the things that need to be fixed. I mean, it's basically what we do every single day. Well, you did that wrong. Hey, McCarthy, how did you want the Patriots to handle that better? I don't know. I'm just telling you they did it wrong. But you don't have the... No. It's not my job to have answers. That's why it's the best job on earth. It's just my job to complain and tell you everything that's wrong. It's a good gig. You should try it sometime. Teeth. It's kind of crazy. Think about all the things that go wrong, when you grow teeth, too. I mean, really. You grow one set of teeth, and then you grow another one? But then there are a million things that can go wrong, and they're wisdom teeth. We've just got this extra one, and there's no room for it. How many people grow an extra limb, and you're like, hey, buddy, there's no room for it. But most of us grow extra teeth that you need to have surgically removed. It's dumb. We have evolved beyond so many things, yet we have not evolved beyond this. I've never thought about this before, Skaz. It's kind of wild.
That's what I do. I think about nonsense. That's what I'm here for.
It's not nonsensical. It's very sensical. It's very important.
Just make my life easier. That's all I'm asking for.
Skaz, so, I lose all my baby teeth, right? And then, it's you got another tooth coming in. And no, I didn't lose one of my baby teeth. And they're like, what's the deal with this? It's go to x-ray it. Because, again, we can x-ray stuff, human advancement. They're like, hey, buddy, your tooth's not going to fall out. You know why? Your adult tooth is growing in sideways. Sideways, Skaz. They had to go in there, turn it around, and bring it down. I was conscious for that. That wasn't fun. It's not enjoyable. But like, does that happen like generally with anything else besides teeth? Everything goes wrong with teeth. Most of us have to get them rearranged. Do you have to get your arms and legs rearranged normally? No, but like we've just accepted this as like the way it is. And then they'll fall out and rot out of they'll rot out of your skull? Does that happen to anything else? Like our hair falls out. I know that feeling. But like in the end, you don't need hair, right? You don't need it. But teeth, you need that. Something we need so much. Yet they don't work. They don't work the way you want it to. How have we not fixed this by now? Like genetically, evolutionarily. How has it not been addressed?
McCarthy versus scientific advancements.
That's what we just call the night show. So what's the deal with space anyway? Can somebody explain this to me? Science, not my, could you tell, Skaz, not my subject in school? More of a history guy. The social sciences. Elite social science guy. Real science? No. Strong out on that.
You're a big fan of things that have already happened, not things that might or could happen.
Correct. Yeah, no, I'm not into predicting the future. As you know, with my Red Sox takes, my betting takes, predicting the future, not my strong suit. Talking about things that already happened, yep, that's for me. So there was this one night at Ford's Theater, all right? 617-779-0985. But Miss Hoover, was President Lincoln okay? Yes, Ralph. He was fine. Go home, Ralph. I was watching some Simpsons the other night. Girlfriend didn't find it as funny. This is a bad look. Bad look for her. Bad look. She's like, I've never seen you laugh this hard. I'm like, I know, because it's the greatest and funniest show in the history of television. Why aren't you laughing? Oh, you don't get it? Or whatever? I don't know. It's what's wrong with you? Huh? We continue. It's McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox, a 7-5 victory over the Tigers tonight. Cedar Rafaela homering in the 10th inning after Kenley Jansen blew the game in the 9th. Sox and Tigers back. McCarthy in for Joe. Guys, you got to bear with me here for a second. I'm now realizing, very glad I realized this. I forgot to submit to get paid tonight, so I got to punch in for that. I'm not a charity, Skaz.
You got to sit here for another 4 hours now.
That's right. Got to do more of this. Yeah, no, I mean, because I'm just gonna give my time on the Friday night of Labor Day weekend, where, I mean, there are tens of thousands of people out there on the roads doing their thing, right? You know, they're engaging strongly with this. So, I mean, I be with Milliken earlier today. Damn it, I'm getting paid for this.
There was no bigger evidence to me that just like nobody works on Fridays anymore. Traffic yesterday coming in, horrible. Yep. Thursday, bad. Today, nobody.
It's a breeze.
Nobody on the road.
Holiday weekend. You remember the old like holiday weekend getaway thing?
Like Friday at noon.
Friday at noon, Friday at 5, sometimes even worse like that. You're right. Nobody on planet Earth works on Fridays anymore.
Nope. And yesterday it was a parking lot. Everybody's just,
Friday's the work from home day. Monday is too. By the way, we are in for a rude awakening. I don't know about you guys. I need to be in the car. I need to be somewhere. I need to be in Watertown for 7:30 in the morning on Tuesday morning.
Kids are back.
Everybody's back to school. Yep, that will be a rude awakening. That summer, Monday, Friday thing. You see, those are the days to work. Like, if you've got a hybrid schedule, let me tell you, I'm Matt McCarthy, and I'm here to tell you how to live, all right? You want your in-office days actually to be Monday and Friday. No traffic. No traffic Monday, Friday. Skaz, do you experience this? The worst traffic day is now Thursday.
Yeah, I would.
No doubt.
Like Friday in the fall, I might have an issue, but yeah, Thursday in the summer, it's Thursday.
It's pretty much all Thursday. Thursday is the worst traffic day. Just about everybody is in the office Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bad traffic days. Monday, Friday, not so much anymore. Everybody's doing that hybrid thing. And I don't begrudge you for it. I do it too. I work hybrid. It's great. Love working hybrid. But if you have to go into the office on a Friday, not the worst thing. Nobody's going to be in the office. We certainly have that experience here. You roll in on a Friday, Skaz, I mean, there were 2 cars in the parking lot today.
Plenty of parking.
Milliken and I were able to go out into the parking lot and have a catch. Legitimately. Tyler Milliken and I played catch before tonight's show. We just went out into the parking garage. No problems there. No cars to worry about, because trust me, Wild Thing here would have to worry about some cars. Nope. Just me, Milliken, having a catch. Getting his arm loose for Worcester. I will be in Worcester tomorrow. I'm going to go watch Milliken throw out his first pitch. I'm on till 2 with Alex Barth. I'm headed out right after that. Going to go watch Milliken get the first pitch. I've been told I'm going to get sweet access. I'm going to get to hang out with Milliken all day.
You're getting the full Milliken experience.
It's going to be a good time. It's good. I mean, it's good to be king, right? And Tyler Milliken is king. Kid's going to snap it in there. I'm telling you, Skaz.
You're talking him up. He better not blow it, because he's going to hear about it.
He can snap the ball in there a little bit. He was always like, oh, my arm was weak, middle school ball, whatever. I'm like, Milliken, you're making the glove pop a little bit. Nothing better than a good catch. You and I were talking about this earlier, Skaz. Still like an underrated grown man experience. To go out and play catch with another grown man.
Absolutely.
Totally underrated. I mean, you think about it, right? We think of catch as like a father-son thing. Just a couple of dudes going out there playing catch. Milliken and I didn't want to stop. I probably burned his arm out.
I was going to say, he's going to wake up tomorrow and have a dead arm.
because he spent 15 minutes playing catch with McCarthy in the parking garage. Yeah. Seriously, though, an underrated grown adult experience. Playing catch with another man. That's a good time right there. I thought about this like earlier this year. I was debating spending like $400 on like a real legit baseball glove. So I have like my old first baseman's mitt that my brother and I shared when we played, Little League, Babe Ruth, you name it. Yeah, first baseman's mitt, and that's what I used tonight with Milliken. then my dad has this glove that we gave him that we used in Little League, Babe Ruth, you name it, like a fielder's mitt. Some no-name thing. It's the best glove I've ever had. It's incredible, this thing. Zoe wore it at a charity softball game once and was like, McCarthy, this glove is incredible. I'm like, yeah. Actually, Zoe stretched it out a little bit, his big-ass hands there. But still, great shape. I mean, you feel like the ball's going to snap right through that leather. That's how nice that glove is. It's incredible. But I was thinking, what if I went out and bought like a real like Rawlings Heart of the Hide? Just like spend $300, get it customized, get your name on it, get the color you want, get the webbing you want. Like that would be a cool thing to spend some money on. Then you say, well, are you really going to use it? The practical side comes into you. You start thinking, McCarthy, you're not going to do this. Why are you going to spend $400 on this? Buy some more stock. There you go. Do whatever you want. Invest that $400. Well, like, no, I want to buy a glove, like a real nice, lifetime, professional quality baseball glove. But who am I going to play catch with? And now I've found this out. As a grown man, we all should go out there and play catch with our friends, as I found out today with Milliken. I'm going to go buy that baseball glove. I'm going to customized left and right. So the next time I play catch with Milliken, you get that real. When he snaps it in there, you get that real sound of like a $400 Rawlings glove. That's a sound right there. That, chef's kiss to that. 617-779-0985. JP in North Providence. JP.
Good thing Bailey didn't work with Milliken. He'd be on the DL and you'd be throwing the ball out tomorrow.
You got that right. Nobody wants that, JP.
So listen, as the man to get the best, but nice job keeping it on the rails for 3.5 hours, but enough is enough.
Agreed.
As the man that got the best of Tim McCone, the wiffle ball king of Carver, someone that's been to Edaville Railroad, I need your expert take on this, and only you would know from where you grew up.
Okay.
Cranberry sauce or cranberries with the jelly and still the berries in it? I need your opinion.
All right, JP, I'm going cranberries with the berries. What did he say? Cranberries with the jelly in it? Yeah, no, that's what I'm going with. But there's a reason why I'm stumbling and bumbling around this. I don't like cranberries. Spent half my childhood in Carver. Don't like cranberries. Don't like the taste of them. I do like the craisins, but you bring the little raisin element into it, but it's just not a cranberry flavored guy. Definitely out on cranberry sauce. You throw some jelly in there, I'm going to like the jelly. You do some cranberries in there and you have at it. Not a cranberry guy, though. And I grew up on bogs, literally on bogs. The harvest, great time. Great time down there. No, not a cranberry guy. Just not. Sorry about that. I also grew up in Winchester, and I'm not a pretentious douche, so there you go either. Sometimes where you grow up doesn't actually have an impact on you. Not a cranberry guy, and I'd like to think not a pretentious douche. You want to talk about a real culture shock, though. 10 years old, moving from Winchester to Carver. That, wow. Ooh, baby. Yikes. You're like, wow, who are these people? Brian in Norwood. Brian.
McCarthy.
How you doing?
You touched my soul. There I am coaching my son's Little League for years and years and years, and then COVID hit, and we were all at a loss. I've always played catch with my dad. I always played catch with my brother. And lo and behold, the COVID year sucked.
Yes.
And I held impromptu Little League practices at the ball field across the street from my house in Norwood, the Norwood High School JV field. And millions of other dads. It was just awesome. It was just impromptu Little League all year round. And then one day my dad showed up on his mountain bike with his backpack. My dad was about 75. He was a BC baseball player back in his day. And he pulled out his glove. He started pitching. A kid hit a line drive. My dad laid out, caught it, threw it to first, and all of a sudden, men, myself, everybody just, stood and applauded. It was incredible. And I just go, that's my dad.
That's awesome. Baseball. Just going out and having a catch. What a time. I enjoyed it tonight. I haven't played catch with my dad in a long time. Maybe you'd like to play catch with me. But it's one thing to do it with your dad, right? I'm talking about doing it with friends. Go out and have a catch with your friends. Grown man playing catch with another grown man. That's an experience. I enjoyed that tonight. Very much enjoyed that. Skaz, you want to have a catch after the show? You bring your glove.
Yeah, why not?
You bring your glove sometime. We'll go have a catch. Be a good time. That's McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
McCarthy in for Joe. We got a good one here at the U.S. Open. Djokovic still on the ropes here. It's down 2-1. Who is this? Poprin? Is that the Australian's name? Skaz? You're a tennis guy, right? You like tennis?
Yeah, I wouldn't, not as big as I was at a time, but yeah, I mean, I'll watch any sport if it's on. But yeah, I love the U.S. Open. Alcaraz losing yesterday in one of the, you can't even. There is no like football equivalent, like no NFL equivalent to what happened yesterday. Like that was a college team beating an NFL team, basically.
Yeah, I would love to go to a U.S. Open. I've never been. I mean, it's theoretically easy to do. I mean, it's just down in Queens.
I would love to do like a Mets game in the U.S. Open in a weekend. I don't know if the Mets are always away during the U.S. Open. Like, I don't know how that works, but
I don't think they'd be away the whole time. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's 2 weeks. You can't send them away for 2 weeks. I mean, getting in and out of there is kind of a pain, but I mean, it is what it is.
You've been to a Mets game?
I have. I went to a Mets game about a month ago.
Oh, okay. So new stadium, new.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Like it's not my favorite ballpark that I've been to, but it's not my least favorite either. I mean, it's definitely worthwhile. It's not far. Drive down. I mean, my friend lives south of Albany, but he's a Mets fan. He was home visiting. He lives out west, and I mean, we took with traffic, ended up being a little closer to 3 hours, but we took a little drive down to Citi Field and had a great time. 2 hours back, 3 hours down, 2 hours back. It was a good time. Enjoyed it. So definitely recommend it. And I was thinking, geez, I should come back for a U.S. Open. It's just not far. Sports bucket list. Like events you want to see, Skaz.
I think a Ryder Cup would be right up there.
Oh, that would be awesome.
A World Cup game.
Yes, which I hope to knock out many World Cup games here in a few years. I would just like the bosses to know here I am a premier soccer guy. You are too, Skaz. We watched the Messi game together.
We did. Had a delightful time.
Great time.
Great time.
Saw some of our old friends from across the street.
Yes, I had a wonderful night. Beautiful weather. Messi scored. Suarez scored. It was great time. Awesome. Revs lost, unfortunately, but
like 5-1, right? Revs scored in the first minute of the game.
They did, yeah.
Which made it good because then it meant Messi had to
try a little bit.
That was interesting to watch. It's like you could just tell he wasn't trying for about 90% of the game, and then he just turned it on in certain moments, and nobody could contend with him.
He just walks around, and he's still the best player on the planet.
It's pretty incredible. And he's playing here in MLS, which is no joke. That was a good time. That was a good take right there. That Revs game. Seeing that place banged out for soccer, too, was awesome, which just should make you more excited about a World Cup.
And should make you more frustrated with the product that the Revs are.
Couldn't agree more. We don't talk about it enough on this station. Like the state of the Revs, boy, it is not good.
I do think that if the Patriots continue a dysfunctional, path, that will become more of a talking point. Like, oh, Brady was the shield for so long. They've been owners in other sports, and look what that team has looked like for 25 years.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Like the Kraft's failure with the Revs in many senses will probably be brought up more in the context of the Patriots if the Patriots struggle. But, I mean, you think about it, right? The Krafts come in, Parcells, here, Carroll, like the lowest point up until the last few years were the Pete Carroll years, which is, looking back on it, not as big of a low as you would imagine, but it is what it is. But yeah, no, we'll start to talk about it. I'll talk Revs anytime you want. Soccer guy, Skaz.